Well, there you are. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Liz, I saw a comment that said you really need this. I hope you're doing okay. That kind of made me worry. Hey, Meredith, Lynn, Diaz, Kitty, Diane, and Mods. Thank you for being here. Joanne Hawley, look how cute you are. Kitty McLitter, welcome in. Truthfully yours. I'm not blocked. My main is blocked, so I've been lurking for a while. What is your main name? Hey, Sierra Terry, so that I can look into that, my friend. Let's see who I'm going to get too far up. David Moreno's here. Linda. Liz Tricks, I hope you're all right. Hey, Rain Virus. Hey, Muffet Lou. Yadira is by herself? Surely not. Olivia Anderson, but if she is, she could totally handle it because I can do it too. I can delete comments. I know how to do it. Hey, Soph. Hey, Nancy Jane. Charcoal Ninja. Oh, thanks, Rain. Hey, Pepperoni Nips, Peggy Collins, Debbie Zito, Abundantly Empowered, Little Jinx, that's cute. Hey, Bohemian Luciferian Witch. Thank you, Erica. Hey, Alana. Hey, Kat. Crazy work day. Okay, yeah, no, I get that on a deep level, actually. I've been on a Zoom call for 6 hours today, actually. Margie Barr, but I'm sure your day was crazier than mine, I assure you. Ewa's here, Christy Lynn, Upwardly Vocal. Welcome in. Hey, Anita Card. Gemini Girl, thanks, babe. You missed it yesterday because you were forced to go bike riding? That actually sounds fun. I'm pretty sure I couldn't do it today if I tried, but I exceed the weight limit, unfortunately. Hey, MLG Gamer. Hey, Tashbits. Cute little jailbird. Oh my God. Now I can't unsee it. I look like a jailbird. Oh, Lord. Hey, Catherine B. She's right. Wisconsin Barb is here. Angie Moe. Karen James. Grandma Sunshine Dragon. Joe Virus. We have missed you. I'm happy to see you, Joe. Reflections. Margie Barr, you got a membership? That's incredible. Lurker here. Hi, everyone. Well, truthfully, you say you're a lurker with this account because you got blocked. I would like to help you with that if you tell us your other account. That concerns me. I feel bad about it. Hey, Marie Marion. Had company this weekend, so missed any streams. That's okay, Joe. We're just happy to see you. Hey, just as I am. Robin Miners. Sporting the convict look. That's terrible. I can't believe I didn't think about that. Actually, I can believe it. My mind is mush today. Here for manipulation roll call. I'd like to hear that. D, I'm glad you made it. Hey, Anna Pikachu Hunter. Thank you, Alana. Hey, Tammy. Busy with life, Tammy? Totally acceptable, babe. Mel Robbins look-alike. You know, somebody told me that recently in these glasses. I ran an errand and they were like, do you know you look like Mel Robbins? I was like, I don't think I do, but that's a huge compliment. Yay, Alabama Rose, you made it. Let's see. Well, baby steps, thank you for that. Guys, they really go crazy over the gifted memberships. It's really kind. And baby steps, I'm glad you're here. The Hamburglar. Thank you, baby steps. That's it, the Hamburglar. I look like a hockey ref. Okay, see, I didn't even think of that. That's sad. It's sad that none of that crossed my mind. I do look like a hockey ref. I wouldn't mind having that job, to be honest. I can't unsee the Hamburglar. I know I was thinking jailbird, and now hockey ref and Hamburglar. It's a thing. It's a whole theme. Hey, Matt's mom. What was that? Oh, thanks, Hux. I feel like I have a ghost hair. Kid, what are you doing, girl? What kinds of things do you know? You've been bothering me all day, if I'm being honest. Who's Mel Robbins? Vicky Cat. Mel Robbins is a really great author. She's some people I don't know how to put this. She wrote a book called Hey, Always Late. Hey, Joanne Hawley, Linda McMillan. She wrote a book called Let Them Theory. I think it's fantastic. I've played a lot of her. She's a thank you, Matt's mom. She's a self-help author. And Debbie, you couldn't be more right, girl. Motivational speaker. Hey, Heather. Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. That was a great movie. I loved Christina Applegate in that movie, and I love Christina Applegate. Yeah, she's a motivational speaker. I really like her. Hey, Lily Mom. Jane Aldrich, welcome in. Yeah, Biggie Cat, I've played some of her reels. She makes a lot of sense to me, and I just like a lot of the things she has to say. I mean, really, truly. As a matter of fact, I feel like I saved one recently for myself. I sent one to myself. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Man, I answered a bunch of messages in Messenger, and they just piled back up. I got to get back on it again. Wow. Was there something I just sent to myself recently? It doesn't look like it. I really like Mel Robbins. Well, let's see what she says here. This is the last one I sent to myself.
See, there's a clock ticking in the background that none of us can see.
That's
and
her.
At some point, your life is going to be over. Your parents are going to be gone. Your sister or brothers, if you have siblings, are going to be gone. And there is power available to you right now to make the most of the time that you have while you have it. And I want to read to you from the Let Them Theory book, because this perspective about time is what motivated me to change the way that I align my actions and my time when it comes to my family. And the Let Them Theory truly helped me make changes while I still had the time to do so. The truth is, you have limited time with your loved ones. At some point, you're going to realize that your parents aren't going to be here forever, and that this was their first time as a human being too. People can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. And most people, particularly the people in your family and my family, have not gone to therapy. They haven't looked at their issues, and frankly, they don't want to. Let them. Let your parents be less than what you deserve. Let your family life be something that isn't a fairy tale. They're just doing the best they can with the resources and life experiences they have. But now you get to choose what happens moving forward. The fact is, most human beings have never done the work to understand themselves or heal their past or manage their own emotions. And if they haven't done that for themselves, they are incapable of doing that for you and showing up in a way that you deserve. Let them. When you recognize that you have a choice in your life and you let your...
That was good. I'm actually not going to keep going because it's 3 minutes long, but I want to go back a couple seconds and listen to that again. Hey, Panda. Hey, Tony. Some people came in that I didn't say hi to. Renee B came in. Aline, Sherry Taylor, welcome in, ladies. That was important. I love you, Panda.
Themselves, what happens moving forward. The fact is, most human beings have never done the work to understand themselves or heal their past or manage their own emotions. And if they haven't done that for themselves, they are incapable of doing that for you and showing up in a way that you deserve.
That's a really good point, guys. Has anybody thought of that? We've talked about it before because she's inspired me. Hey, Carolyn Cotter, Upwardly Vocal. Yes, it's a great book. Yeah, that's true. And Abundantly Empowered. Tammy, very powerful words there, guys. And Tammy Kennelly, welcome in. Very powerful because it really pertains to a lot of the things we talk about on this channel. Think of all the energy and time and effort that you put into on a daily basis, trying to make something work, trying to deal with your mother, your mother-in-law, your boss, spouse, whatever it is. She's absolutely right. Yes, Vicky Cat. Hey, Armine, librarian, jailbird, referee. Armine, thank you. I didn't even think about it. Hey, Michael Wincoop. It's I did not think about this outfit looking like a jailbird. Everyone is doing their best with the resources they have or don't have. Absolutely true. And if you just think of that, it's such a weight lifted. To me, Spooky Monster Dawn, you don't have to carry all that weight, that effort, that energy, that stress of like, I can't get this person to work with me, or, oh, my mom, this happens every time I deal with her. Guys, they don't have it to give. They haven't worked on themselves. This wasn't the topic. As a matter of fact, I didn't have a topic. Kid, what are you doing? I didn't have much of a topic today, to be honest. I'm just here because I said I would be here. But that is such a good point. Actually, I did have a little bit of a topic. That's the reason I titled this Blank Slate, but that goes right into it. Let's all take a minute to just let that go. Thanks, Angie Mo. Just let that go. Like some of the difficult people that we have close in our lives that we have to deal with. Some of them we absolutely have to deal with. Some we don't, that we come across that are strangers, right? But it's so true. Like that's how I interpret that. They don't have it to give. People who have not worked on themselves are not going. Yeah, it's so true, Kestrel. I'm sorry.
Let them.
I got to hear that again.
Or heal their past.
Listen to this.
The best they can with the basically, they don't want to. Let them. Let your parents be less than what you deserve. Let your family life be something that isn't a fairy tale. They're just doing the best they can with the resources and life experiences they have. But now you get to choose what happens moving forward. The fact is, most human beings have never done the work to understand themselves, or heal their past, or manage their own emotions. And if they haven't done that for themselves, they are incapable of doing that for you and showing up for you. Let go of control. Yes. Not a bad idea, Don. Yeah, Angie Mo, topic schmopic. Hey, love it. Who else just came in? Air Supply. Hey, Air Supply. I look like a beautiful jailbird. Thanks, Marie Marion. Do the shimmy like we did yesterday with that weird fur cape on and I couldn't use my arms. Hey, Sassy Savage. I love that you're back today. Christy Lynn Wilson. Yeah, Sophia, so good. Tammy, I knew this would hit somebody today, and I'm glad it was you. When we have expectations for people that they are unable to meet, we are doomed to be frustrated and disappointed. Yes, but it's like Mel just said, let your family let you down. Basically, like they're not going to meet expectations. I talk about this a lot because a lot of times we deal with someone and we expect them to perform here and they're down here, which means we have to meet people where they're at. Instead, we stay up here and get frustrated with them. You have to let them. They're not typically doing it intentionally. It's just where they're at. You know, we talked about this yesterday. Did Tommy have any remarks about you? I apologize to him. Hey, Pat Jonas. No, Tommy's a sweet guy. He's not all bark or bite. He was very kind about it. I felt bad. I said, I'm really sorry. Hey, Wanda. True, Wanda. But I mean, hey, Angel, I just want you to know, I think about you every time I look at the peace sign. Guys, Angel got that for us. And I say us because it's for the whole show. And everybody signed the back of it that was there. And Angel, I want you to know how special that is to me. Makes me think of you every time I see it. Yeah, Biggie Cat, it's whether you want to fight that or not, it's a fact, guys. It's a fact. You're just trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. You've got to let people behave how they're going to behave. Not only that, so true, Diane. Not only that, I think about my dad, like the worst human being in my life. And now as a more healed, right? I don't bleed on people as much because I've healed, but even him, I think I give him a little bit of grace because I no longer think, why did you do this to me? Why didn't you love me? Why didn't you hug me? Why didn't you protect me from having sex with a 24-year-old man when I was 14? Not only did you not protect me, hey, Cliff Ann, you wrote in my baby book about it. You were proud of it. He didn't have it to give. He wasn't withholding, guys. That's how we have to look at certain situations. They're not withholding. They're not punishing. Now, in some situations, that's true. Some people really do. Hey, Shelly Kelly. Some people really do want to see you suffer. There are people out there, of course, in this world. Hey, Miss Sunrise Dawn. There are people in this world who want to see you suffer in some unimaginable way. Those people exist. We move past those people. But it's so true that you've got to people only are going to deal with situations as much as they've dealt with and healed themselves. I know that sounds, I feel like people hear that and they're like, yeah, no,
It's serious. That's very deep. That's very real. Think about somebody right now. Hey, DNV. Hey, Hux. Can you let your sister back out? Thank you. She's really a lot today. I read a book once that said, whenever you get angry, it's usually because we put an expectation on them they never agreed to. That's magic right there, Meredith Lynn. Guys, read that. Sassy says it's also okay to miss the person they should have been. Well, sure, you can grieve even, Sassy, for the person they should have been. But the fact is they didn't step up to be that person because it wasn't there to be, right? In my opinion. Thank you, son. I read a book once, read this again, that said whenever you get angry, it's usually because we put an expectation on them they never agreed to. In a lot of ways, you got to take accountability for that. That's taking some serious accountability right there. You are expecting someone to behave a certain way, and you're mad that they didn't. Think about that for a minute. We all do it. We're mad when someone doesn't perform or react in the way we expect. That's on you. They never agreed to. I think about this. Someone said to me recently about someone, they're never going to change. Like, it's never going to change. It's always going to be the same. And I said to the person I was talking to about it, why did you expect that? That's on you. They never said they were going to change. Do you hear what I just said? Because that's massive to me. When someone says that, like, oh, same old crap, or they're never going to change, why did you have the impression they would? Did they say they would? You're expecting them to meet you to a place that they didn't agree to meet. Does that make sense? In a lot of ways, we do this to ourselves. At least that's how I see it. Abundantly Empowered says, also, it's freeing when you're feeling judged. People are labeling you or misunderstanding you. Let them know you know your truth. So much better to let things go than internalize it. That's how I feel about the people who hate me. Abundantly Empowered. That's on you, not me. You hate me for all these different lists of reasons. That's something that you have to deal with. And to be quite honest, when you're a total stranger and you've never met me and you hate me, that's just you bleeding on me because you have things you haven't fixed. You've got your own triggers and traumas in here, and somehow I bring that out in you. Or somehow you've just chosen to target me. You're just picking a target and I happen to be there, right? Like, that's the way I look at that. It's got nothing to do with me. Well, what are you doing, Jangies? Mr. Bojangies. Why were you eating turds today? I saw you in the yard. Sit, sit, sit. Bobo. Oh, he's a good person, but he doesn't listen to his mom. And he says, I don't have any friends. He says, my mom is my only friend, and she's not even really my friend. She just feeds me my lunches. Bobo, that's not true, and I don't know why you say that. Well, nobody wants to be my friend. I go to grandma's house, and she gets tired of my ass. Well, that's because you're so tall, Bobo, but no one doesn't like you. Yeah, but you're my only friend, and it's only because you feed me my lunches. Oh, Bobo, that's not true. Yeah, love it. I totally get that. Baby steps. This is timely. My sister and I aren't really close. In fact, since she was a teen, the family had to walk on eggshells around her. What are you doing? All right. She's been aggravating me lately in a way we have talked about avoiding. I just need to let it go. My sister and I aren't really close. In fact, when she was a teen, the family had to walk on eggshells around her. She's been aggravating me lately in a way we have talked about avoiding. I need to let it go. Well, and thank you for your super chats. It's sadly, it's true. Like, I don't know if it's even a sad situation, but it's easier to wash your hands of it, in my opinion, if you can say, this has nothing to do with me, and I've got to meet my sister where she's at. I want her to meet me up here, but that's not going to happen. That's the way I look at that, baby steps, but I'm still sorry you're going through it. And it's a bummer when it's family. Like, I totally get that. I get that on a deep level. I don't have a lot of a relationship with my sister. I wouldn't call it like friction either, but I like that. Don't expect validation either, but I wish there were more to it. Maybe we could build on it someday, but square peg, round hole. And it's no one's fault. What the hell did I walk into? Reese is hot, only 16 minutes in. Do I need to rewind? Do you mean hot like I look shiny and oily like a soul food cook? Or do you mean hot like attractive, like bonable? Either way, thank you, babe. I agree that many times it is that way. In my sister's case, it was agreed upon. That's sad, baby steps, and I'm sorry. You're a wonderful person, and I hope that changes someday, and I love you. You don't have to keep super chatting, though. I agree that many times it is that way. Did you super chat me twice, or did that just pop up twice? Baby steps, thank you for the super chat, but you don't have to do that. I love you. Thank you, and I'm sorry. It's rough. It's a tough situation. I sometimes am thankful. Kim is blue. You do need to take this advice. People at work at work, people are frustrating. Oh, thanks, Kestrel. Hey, Jessamine. It's just one of those things that I think we get really tensed up about stuff and like anxiety builds. You just have to look at it like well, that actually brings up the, do you guys remember the Gap? Not the store. That was a fun store. Thanks, Dawn. Hey, Jenny Sorensen. It also reminds me of the Gap. Do you guys remember my therapist said, here's you, right? This was important too. And I think this will help. It helps me. And I need to refresh myself on this. Here's you. Here's the situation or the person. Let's say it's the person and you guys can't see eye to eye. It's what someone said a minute ago. You can only control you. It sucks. But it makes me think of the end of God Almighty or Bruce Almighty. This is such a good point. So hold on, let me finish this first. You can only control you. There's a gap here between the two of you, right? My therapist used to say, put it in the gap. There's nothing you can do about it. You're not going to change this person. You're not going to get them to raise up to where you are. So there's a gap here. You got to put it into the gap. There's nothing you can do. It makes me think of the end of Bruce Almighty. I can only control me. I got to remind myself of that. It's hard. We have to put a reminder for that, which sucks. But especially I feel like women really like we have 4,700 tabs open like a computer all day in our minds. Women are such badasses. We're doing things. We're multitasking, kids, life, family, work, travel, right? I just think women are such badasses. I'm sorry to any men in the chat, but I speak for the women and I really do. I'm impressed by women all the time. I spend more time with women though than I do men. I understand that, DNV, but listen to this. Yeah, D, I forgot about the gap too. The end of that movie, he says to God, Bruce is really frustrated and he says, how do you get someone to love you without messing with free will? And God says, if you get an answer to that, let me know. Even God can't mess with free will. And I thought about that too. If God can't mess with your free will and you can do whatever the hell you want, good or bad, why are we letting other people control what we do? If God can't control what we do, why are we worrying about what other people think? Why are we trying to impress? Why are we trying to dance and act a certain way to be around someone, to be in someone else's space or, right? We have free will. And but what comes with that, I loved it. What is wrong with you? Do you have to go to the bathroom? Hey, Hux.
Yeah.
Can you take your brother outside?
Sure. I'm going to go outside anyways.
Okay, but don't leave him out there for 2. He doesn't love it. I mean, take him out for like 5 minutes.
Okay, come on, bro.
And then let him come back in. He just seems restless. Thank you. Don't let... Oh, I have cleavage today? No, that's just a shadow. No, I don't have cleavage. I mean, I could if I really pushed them together, but no. Thanks for noticing, but it's a shadow. Are you guys following with what I'm saying? I'm following with what I'm saying, and it really means something to me. You cannot, it's so simplified. And when I remind myself of this, I just feel like I lose weight. I get so caught up in the daily, like, I couldn't fix this. I couldn't control this. I wish I could have done that. I wish I would have done better on that conversation. I wish I would have handled that differently. Thanks, Yadira. 9, girl. But I didn't, and I let it fail or I let it fall. That's not really entirely the case. You can only deal with what you can only control you. You can only control how something makes you feel. You can only control what comes out of your mouth, your actions, right? Thanks, DNV. I don't think I have cleavage, guys. I've never had cleavage in my life. I don't see anything. I think it's just, again, I think it's just a nice shadowing effect. I'm so sorry, Jenny. I'm sorry that your mother passed away. That's horrible. Hey, Kelly. This is such a concept I don't feel like I'm making my point about. This is one of those, this is where I think this is how I learn differently. I see it. I totally see it in my head. Faux cleavage. Thanks, yes, Kitty Diane. I totally see it in my head, but I'm having a hard time putting it into words. It's like I get the concept, but I'm having a hard time getting it out. Some of you are following with what I'm saying, but I love what he says to God in that movie. Okay, Peggy, thank you. Hey, Kathy Burkhart. How do you get someone to love you without messing with their free will? Even God is like, if you get an answer to that, let me know. That's such a grand scale when you look at that concept. It's zooming out to the extreme when you say that. How do you get someone to love you, or how do you get someone to do anything, right, without messing with their free will? What is free will? They're in control. They're in the driver's seat. They can do whatever they want. To me, that's what free will is. I didn't really much know or use the term free will until a couple of weeks ago. I never really even heard it. I don't want to say free will is a biblical term. It's not, but it's not something I ever heard in Scientology. Thanks, Michael. We never came across the term. L. Ron Hubbard, I'm pretty sure intentionally, never used the term free will, right? The only thing that he got the closest to how we get to think for ourselves in Scientology is there's a saying that all Scientologists go by, and it is, LRH says, what is true for you is what is true for you. And he goes on to say something like, even if I say something you disagree with, that's okay, because what's true for you is what's true for you. Lies, first of all, lies. You sit on a throne of lies. But that's, yes, so true, Dawn. Free will is as anti-Scientology as you can get. Dawn, that is complete truth. What she just said is absolute truth, right? And you can only control you, never another person. You can only try to advise other people and hope they listen, right? I have not seen that, DNV. I'm a little scared to see it, but I've been told to see that movie, The Passion of the Christ. I'm sure it's fantastic. I just don't know that I can handle it. I feel like I would cry, and I just don't know. I don't feel ready for it yet, but I will see it eventually. So free will is fairly a new concept to me, and I'm loving the idea of what it is and that God talks about it. I think like free will is a beautiful thing. We're all gifted that. It's a gift. It's a gift. You don't get anyone to do anything with positive means, only with manipulation, preying on weakness. I mean, what do you mean by that, baby steps? You don't get anyone to do anything with positive means, only with, I don't know about that, because I believe that people have gotten me to see things or do things, hey, Buff, that were positive. I guess I'd have to understand what you mean by that. I had to forgive my dad, Cheryl, for SA as a child, so my girls could have me as a whole mom, but I never let my girls around him alone. I was very protective of them. I also fought hard for my mom's love. That is so heartbreaking, and I'm sorry, Cheryl, that you had to go through that. You sound like an incredible mother and that you protected your children. But I do have to say, I admire you for forgiving him, because I believe I'm just learning about forgiveness as well. Huxley, Okay, can you let him back in?
Yeah.
Thank you. Do you know if he pooped?
No, I didn't see him.
Oh, did you steal the cat's toys? That's not yours, Bobo. That's not yours. That's the cat's. That's the cat's catnip fish. But you're a good person. And he says it was just simple accident. I thought it was my fish. He says it's a simple mistake. I didn't know. I thought it was mine because I've got my own basket of toys. Yes, you do, Bobo. And he says, this is my fish because it's my only friend. He says, nobody wants to be my friend except my mom and my fish. That's not true, Bobo. Forgiveness is how we can free ourselves from hatred and resentment. That's absolutely how I see forgiveness as well. You may have it. Forgiveness might be interpreted in different ways. I don't know, Nana's Ranch. He's very distinguished. I'm just proud of you for forgiving your father. And again, I'm sorry that happened to you, but I am, Cheryl, proud of you for doing that. Baby steps. Hey, Victoria. Victoria, I was really happy to see you on the Zoom, babe. We enjoyed having you. Thank you for being there. Baby steps, but you were open to the info. It wasn't forced on you. Manipulate is using vulnerability to achieve an outcome. Oh, I totally agree with that. Yes. Baby steps. Yes. I see what you're saying, and I agree with that very much. And thank you for the super chat, my love. Cheryl says it wasn't easy at all. I still have nightmares and I'm 65. That's horrible. Cheryl, I'm still really proud of you for that, though. I just really want to make sure I acknowledge that because it's a big deal. It's a huge deal. Forgiving someone for anything really is a big deal. It makes you such a bigger person. Hey, Patty. Hey, Geoplanet Jane. And it shows to me, I mean, I want to say maturity, but more than maturity, it shows growth. It shows your heart. It shows your character, right? Dawn says forgiveness is very hard to do, but it feels like a cleansing of our heart. Yes. Yes. I don't know that I would say I've forgiven my father. Only because the reason I say that is I don't hate him to begin with. I don't know that I'm angry with him in the first place. I think years and years and years ago, I came to the realization, this was before I left Scientology. I fought that. That was my entire Scientology. By the way, guys, after my dad left, I loved Scientology up until my father did what he did and Dan O'Connor did what he did. I want to make that clear. Like they both equally broke my heart. Dan O'Connor was a really close friend of mine. I always called him my brother, right? And it all happened in the same day. Dan hit me with the fax machine. It was so traumatic. He was on top of me. He hit me in the face. He wasn't like choking me out, but he had his hands like clasped around my throat. And I definitely couldn't breathe. And then, I thought my dad was coming to save the day. And then he left and said, don't ever call me again. That really broke me. And trusting and believing 100%. Like I gave myself to Scientology up until that moment. I was willing to be talked down to or abused because I still believed in it so much. And I know that you're probably going, you were a child, right? But I really, really was a cheerleader for Scientology. I loved being on staff. I felt like I was making a difference in the world. I really thought that I was helping to clear planet Earth. I thought I was helping people. And that really shattered that. It shattered that. And I struggled with that until I was outed at 38. Thank you, Always Late, for saying that. Until I struggled with Scientology at that point, in that moment, it broke me to where it was not a repairable break. And I tried to basically glue everything back, but it never was right after that. It was never ever right. I never had my dad in my life, yet somehow he was this big whale in Scientology. Like it made no sense to me. I was like, if we are clearing planet Earth and we have all the technology to fix relationships to clear and fix planet Earth, to stop wars, according to L. Ron Hubbard, right? To clear this Earth. We can't fix another Scientologist father with his daughter who's a Scientologist. We can't fix that. That can't be fixed. That's a problem for me. And it remained a problem for me forever. I cried about it. I had to go in thousands of hours of session, right? Like, never could fix that. Never did fix that. Hey, Miss Sassafras, I never did fix that. The only thing, years and years and years and years into my 30s, I think it was when I was with Fred, not met Fred, but when I was with Fred. Fred fixed so much for me. He was the glue that put so many things back together for me to teach me that it's not me. He taught me that it wasn't me. Fred definitely gave me the tools to understand. One day I truly realized it, and I thought, all these years I've been going, but why? But how? Why won't he call me? Why doesn't he love me? Why didn't he hug me? Why won't he respond to my email I sent him on Father's Day? Why am I in so much trouble? Why am I such a piece of shit? He never had it to give. That cleared it, blank slated it for me. I was like, oh, he wasn't withholding it. He wasn't withholding anything. Hey, Katie Fulton, he never had it to give in the first place. It was never on the table for it to be offered. I don't know that that's good or bad, but it helped me to see it from a different angle. I finally filtered it through a new angle, and I was like, oh, it helped me to see, if you're not withholding it, I give you a little bit more grace, which then kind of brings in the forgiveness issue. Ewa, what did your dad say to make being angry with you? When you are the victim in the situation, what did your dad say to make being angry with Ewa? Can you kind of re-sentence that? I don't understand it. What did your dad say to make being angry with you? Hey, Copper. Ewa, I want to answer you. I just don't understand the question. He was a totally different person when he married my stepmom, and he stopped drinking. I got the love I needed from my stepmom. I adored her. Well, Cheryl, that is at least a silver lining, and I'm happy for you. And I'm glad he stopped drinking. That's great. There are so many things in your life, Reese, that should have destroyed you. Your strength and God give to you, get you to where you are now. You are amazing. Baby steps, that is such a nice thing to say. That is such a nice thing to say. I don't want to take that much credit. I feel like anybody would be where I am that went through what I went through, but I don't know. That is such a nice thing to say. I won't reject that. Thank you, baby steps. And it always makes you realize it's not you, it's him. And you know, always late, that makes me think of the stream I did, a couple weeks ago on the statutory rape. And I got to the end of that stream. Oh, thanks, Geoplanet Jane. This is one of my favorite Sephora lip stains. It's number 93, and it's one of my very favorites. It's a little bit pink and it's a little bit red, and I'm at about the end of that tube, and I love this color. I've been wearing it the most. I love number 90, 91, and 93. Like, those are my favorite Sephora colors. And 55 is also pretty good. 55 is an everyday neutral. I wear it more in the colder months. I realized that when it came to the statutory rape, I was like, all this time, I have felt bad because I've disappointed my father. Even up till about now, I feel like I failed him. He fucking failed me. And you know why I never realized it and thought about it the other way around is because I still have that weird indoctrination of I pulled it in, or I should have known better. I was 14 years old, sleeping with a 24-year-old man who took my virginity. I shouldn't have known better. Fuck that idea. That's not true. The adults should have known better. It wasn't just my dad. There was about 40 to 50 other adults that knew about that. So they were all brainwashed. They were mandated reporters. And even who cares whether they're mandated reporters or not? My father should have protected me. A regular adult should have as well, but let's put the blame on him. Let's put it where it belongs. My dad knew about that. He should have protected me. End of story. Yes, Muffet Lou, you need a little pop of red. We talked about this with Honey Lou yesterday. Let's see. Don says your dad was not mentally stable. How did he justify being angry? Okay, so I can give you the answer to that. Hey, New Life Plan. I'll try to explain this to you. Get with the program of being a dad. He never wanted to be a dad. That's why he shipped me off at the age of 14 to the Church of Scientology, Kansas City, so he could go hustle pool and continue to be a serial dater with women. He didn't want this fucking kid. He never hugged me. He never was excited to know me, see me, anything, right? Like, he didn't want all that responsibility. She never had it to give. You just healed my inner child a little more. Just in time for parent visit I've been dreading. Yes. New Life Plan. I'm so glad you just heard that. She didn't have it to give. So stop feeling like, why me? Why was I not the victim? It's not like I'm saying, like, stop, you were abused, right? You were abused. Should I leave this down? But stop with the mentality of like what I was doing. Why didn't he hug me more? Why didn't he love me? Why didn't he? He didn't. It wasn't there. You were pouring from an empty cup. There was nothing in it. He wasn't withholding from me. Yes, babe. I love that you were here to hear that. And thank you for your super chat. Okay, so what justified my dad being mad at me? My dad, I'll just get into this real quick. Do you guys want to hear this? I feel bad. It's kind of weird that you asked me this because I was just talking about it earlier today. My father, let's go back to the Dan O'Connor incident, the moment. It was in May of the year 2000. I'm almost positive that happened. And I was on staff. I was 16 years old. Me too, Muffet Lou. I was 16 years old. I worked in the Hubbard Communications Office, which is HCO. It's the policing division of the organization. It's the HR division. It's the division. It's highly secret, and only HCO personnel are allowed into HCO. Okay. That's important to know because that's where we keep all the ethics files, people's overts and withholds, all their crimes I had access to. That's what I did. I would assign you and punish your lower condition, whatever it is, when people came to me when they got in trouble, and they'd give me a write-up of their overts and withholds. Every day, the snitch culture that happened, people writing up husbands, writing up wives, wives writing up their sons, every bit of the snitch culture came to me. So it's a highly secretive office that not just anyone can walk into. It has to be HCO personnel. I don't know why I explained that, but I did. I think because I was talking about it earlier today. Yeah, he didn't love you to begin with, says Geoplanet Jane. He seized the control to get you at your mom. I believe he's a terrible sadist. Yeah, she's probably right. So, Dan O'Connor comes in. Hey, Melissa, to HCO. Okay. And he's not allowed in there. Even though he's the highest trained person in like 10 states around us, he's not allowed in there. He asks me to send this telex. Okay. I don't know how to do it. It's a machine that I'm supposed to use. I'm supposed to know how to use. It was Thursday around 2:00, which is the week ending of every week in Scientology. It's a bunch of chickens running with their heads cut off on every Thursday. It's an insane madhouse. It's like the New York Stock Exchange. Okay. No, Iwa, if you don't want to talk about it, I understand. No, it's not that I love talking about it. This is what I mean. I like when you guys prompt me. It's important that you guys prompt me. I just don't know that everyone else wanted to hear about it. I get like nervous and shy because I'm like, should we go into that story? I don't know if people want to hear it. I love Iwa that you asked. So please, no one ever feel that way. I want to talk about this stuff and I want to be prompted. I saw that DS Kitty Diane. Anna Wintour chose her successor. I turned her down. I'm going to go work for QVC instead. Yes, Geoplanet Jane. So I thought I sent this telex. It didn't happen. I'd been on staff for 2 years at this point. Dan O'Connor is my closest friend on staff. I have my boyfriend who is 26 at the time. We had been together for 2 years and we were 10 years apart. Hey, baby angel, I've missed you too. Welcome in. I love that you're here. Thank you, baby steps. It's true, baby angel. It's been a long time, babe, and welcome in. So I think I send it. I didn't send it. Dan comes flying into my office, right? And says, oh my God, you didn't send it. And he's like shaking me, and I'm standing, and he picks up a fax machine at a table next to me, and he hits me across the face. I fall to the ground. I remember this so clearly. It's insane how clearly I remember this. I remember the position that I fell, like my head was against the wall, but my body was on the ground. I was so out of it. Like I remember, like, you know, in cartoons, hey, Nicola, when, oh, hold on, mom's texting. Oh, good. Yay. My stepdad is getting his feeding tube fixed. They didn't fix it right the other day. That's great. Reese, you could make a fortune with QVC. No, Geoplanet Jane, I just think I should work for QVC because, yeah, I would probably make a fortune. I would make them a fortune. She wants to chase me with vegetables, Buffy. Yeah. So I'm on the ground. Okay. It literally, truly was like the cartoons were like, there's like stars going around your head. That's how it felt. So yes, Mom, I'm really happy about that. So, he's on me for, I don't know, felt like 10 minutes. It was probably a couple minutes. Let's fast forward. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I need to rush through this story because people don't want to hear it. I don't know why I do that. He hits me, right? I'm on the ground. He ends up leaving my office. I call my dad. And up to this point, my dad and I are close enough. I mean, hey, Treasure. Hey, Sam Ashby. Close enough. Like, I mean, close enough that, like, at this point, let's put it this way. I know, hey, Kay Thompson, just got home from school, prepping my room for my kids back to school tomorrow. I lost my mind today and the kids aren't even back. Babe, we love you. Don't lose your mind, Kay. Take a moment in here because you're in good company. And thank you for your super chat. I don't have them handy, Muffet Lou, actually, but no, otherwise I would show them, but I don't have them with me. All that stuff has to be kind of locked up with attorneys and in a special place, Muffet Lou, because I might have it on my phone. If you are Muffet Lou, are you just talking about the picture where I'm in HCO working? I assume that's what you're talking about, Muffet Lou. No, Buffy, I haven't shown her yet. So this is me when I was 16. That's where it happened. It's exactly where it happened. See that big black filing cabinet behind me? That is where, what does that say? Oh, okay. I don't want to be showing. You know what? Here. Just in case. That was nothing that I don't want people to see, but in case someone sends me, like, for instance, my mother who's texting me about my dad's health information, I don't want that popping up. Okay. See that? That's me at my desk when I was 16 years old. Hey, Lacey Silver. This is where it all happened. The wall next to me is where I fell. Shelly Kelly. That gives you a little bit of a visual of, I'm trying to see if there's any other pictures. I mean, I guess I could show you this one. This is just a picture of Dan O'Connor and Alex Carr. And I don't know, probably 15 here. I'm not really sure. We were doing, hey, Love and Life. Thanks, Pat Jonas. We were doing a drill. The guy in the black shirt is Dan O'Connor. Hey, Bigsy. And see how Alex has his hand on me? We were doing TRs. Hey, Caitlin. Oh, Caitlin, that Moroccan oil shampoo is so good. That's Dan O'Connor. See, I was always chubby, but I wasn't like, I never thought that I was overweight until my dad called me fat when I was like 10 years old. I never had issues with my body. It was just a body. A body was a body to me. I didn't care. I didn't think other people were fat, but it's crazy. It's crazy how much attention and focus I put. I remember the second he called me fat, I went like this. Like I put so much attention from that day forward to today on my body. I am overly focused on my body. Like I hate how fat I am. And you guys are like, you're not fat, Reese. I get your perspective. And I'm not saying it so that you'll say you're not fat, Reese. I'm not saying it so that you'll go, oh, I feel sorry for you, Reese. It's just like it's in my head. It's been in my head since I was 10 years old when he said it. Right. And hey, Joanne Palmer. Yeah, Dan's eyes are creepy looking in that photo. But I mean, I've always kind of had the same body. I've never been you don't look uncomfortable in that picture with the men. Geoplanet Jane, Dan has a Scientology school to this day. Yes, in his house, Kim is blue. I've always been the same body type and same weight. Weirdly enough, I've almost always been between a size 12 and 14 my whole life. Right now, I'm a size 12. I got a pair of jeans recently that are a size 10. Like I've always fluctuated between 12 and 14 and bounced back. When I was pregnant with Huxley, I went up a little bit, but like my body hasn't really changed at all. And so it's not like I have my skinny jeans from my skinny days where I was a size 6. Like I've never been super thin. I've never been like really, really, really big. I've just always hovered around. My weight has always been around like 180, always. When I got pregnant, I went up to like 205, but I'm back down to about 180. So it's just weird because to me, I've always thought I was huge because my dad said that, and I've never let it go. New Life Plan. Imagine Dan O'Connor calling you 30 years later to apologize because the fact did go through. The receipt was just in his fur coat. You're a sick woman. I love it. That's dark humor right there. And that was clever. I love you. You're hilarious. Thank you for your super chat. Shelly Kelly, it's hard to get that voice out of your head. My dad used to say, Shelly's belly full of jelly. Made me hate my nickname until I decided to claim it back. That's really fucked up, and I hate it for you, Shelly Kelly. I'm sorry that he did that. I don't think people, I've said this before, I don't think people should have kids unless they really, really, really think about it. Are you stable enough mentally? Like, do you really want them, or is it an expectation put on you? Like, are you ready to like raise this thing until the end of time and make it a stable, loving, mature, ethical member of society? Are you able to teach this person how to be a really good spouse one day to somebody? Like, none of us we're so broken, and a lot of people are not willing to heal or even see a therapist. Like, really? You're up for the task? You sure? Look at Shelly Kelly's dad. Thank you, Angel. Look at Shelly Kelly's dad. He thought that was funny. He mocked that. That's sick. It's evil and it's wrong. And it sticks with her to this day. I'm 41 years old, and what New Life Plan, what Dan O'Connor did to me and what my dad did happened in one day within 5-6 hours apart of each other. That broke my life. From 16 to today, it really, really messed me up. Now I'm way better. I've worked on it. I've grown. I've gotten therapy. I've verbalized it. I've talked about it, right? I've journaled about it. Like, but not, it's still there. Just like Shelley Kelly, right? Susan Cook, how does your mom feel about your new faith and your sister? It's okay if you don't want to answer. Babe, there's rarely a question I'll answer. You guys know that. I can't think of a time where I was like, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm comfortable. That's why I don't do AMAs or, the ask me anything or question and answer bits, because that's what every stream is. Why would we do an ask me anything? You ask me anything anytime, right? And Susan, thank you for the question. My mom is really happy for me. I don't know how much my sister knows about it, but my mom is actually really happy for me. She thinks it's great. She didn't bring it up. I brought it up to my parents the other day and I said, I have a real strong relationship with God now. And my dad was like, we noticed. And my dad is a Christian. He didn't come from Scientology. This is my stepdad, right? Hey, whine a little bit more. I'm sad you had a bad day, babe. They're really happy for me. They're really happy for me. I'm going to go back to, yes, your dad knew it was something that could hurt you. But listen to the sentence Pat just wrote. What's wrong with that sentence? That's gross. You think I'm going to do something intentionally that's going to hurt my son? You think I'm going to take something and something I know that he's really self-conscious about and gouge him with it? What kind of a sick person does that, especially to their own kid? Your dad knew it was something that could hurt you? What a sick thing to do. That's really sick. Hey, Rachel. Oh, her daughter at her first day of kindergarten. That's so cute. Oh, I bet she was cute. That's adorable. God, I remember that. It was so cute. When I dropped Huxley off for his first day of preschool, he just went for half days. And Michael, his dad, and I were married at the time, of course. And I was crying and I was really kind of feeling sad, dropping him off. And Huxley has always been like so chatty and like outgoing. He's never had a problem. He's never been shy. I took him and I'm like, okay, son. And he like took off. It was like you set him down like an animal and it was like he scurried off. And he walked up and everybody else was there. Almost all of the class was already there. And verbatim, Huxley said, I'll never forget it. He's like tiny with his little tiny boat shoes, his little Sperry's. And he goes, hey guys, I'm here. That's what he said. Those were Huxley's first words in preschool. He just took off like unafraid, wasn't worried about it. He went, hey guys, I'm here. And then you know what he said? It just made me think of it. I took him once with me to, before I started going to my original, hey, it's a whirlwind. Welcome in. I started seeing a chiropractor. Hey, Susanna, I started seeing a chiropractor that wasn't my Scientology one in Kansas City. I saw a different one. And we went in and I was in the waiting room and the same thing. There was a little Amish boy, like there was a whole Amish family sitting in the waiting room. And Huxley walks up to this little kid in overalls, and the kid was super shy, and Huxley was not. And he walked up because the kid was like playing with blocks in the little kid area. And he went up to this kid and he said, verbatim, he said, hey kid, got a name? Huxley was so funny as a little child. That was it. He went, hey kid, got a name? I was like, he's outgoing. He's our outgoing little guy. It was really cute. Don't say other words. Kim is blue, and then I'll get back to the story here. Huxley used to that was his way of threatening me. That's basically before he learned, like, if he was to know how to say, like, shut up or shut your mouth, he didn't say that. He didn't know that. That was what he would say at 3 if he didn't like what you were saying. So instead of being like, shut your mouth or whatever, if I made him mad, he'd look at me and go, don't say other words. And then he would say, if he was really mad at me, he'd go, I am going to make you sad. That's what he would say to me. I'm going to make you sad. Hey, Elena Rainerman, it was the biggest threat of my lifetime. Nothing scared me more. That kid would look up at me like we were the same height, and he would go, I am going to make you sad. And I thought, when is this going to catch on in the world? Like, I want to get mad at someone, like in public. Like, I want to get mad at some stranger and be like, I am going to make you sad. Sir, I'm going to make you sad. And then I just want to be like, don't say other words. Don't say other words. Don't say other words. Is Gene Wally fat? My question. Absolutely not. Gene Wally is both. Here's the question too there. I said this to my mom the other day. Why am I so thick? Both of my parents are thin. My dad is probably 6'3", and I would say 185. He's always been super fit. He's not like muscular, but he's slim. He's a very slim, long spider legs, like build. I've got Chihuahua legs. My father has spider legs. Okay. But also my mom is her average weight, her whole life has been like 110. My mom is tiny, tiny, like Polly Pocket tiny. Why am I so overweight? What happened? Why do I look like the Mucinex guy's wife? Why? I don't know, Joe Virus. No, he didn't pick that up from Fred. Fred hadn't come along yet. Huxley was only 3. Baby angel, don't say other words needs to be a thing, because you know what? It also won't get you in a lot of trouble. Like, if you're arguing with the cops, you could just be like, I'm going to make you sad. Don't say other words. Just an example. Yeah, Buffy, I don't understand why I'm so overweight. I think no one cares, by the way, about what I'm talking about. All right, I'm going to go back to what I was saying. So I'm answering the question for Ewa. Why was your dad so hateful toward you? So Dan O'Connor leaves. Dan O'Connor leaves. I lock the door to my office. Hey, Colleen. Colleen, that's such a nice thing to say. I'm glad you can retell your stories, because each time you process it a little bit more and with a different perspective. I do. You're right. And I need to do it more. I definitely look like my dad's mother. Heather, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Another, you could take after his mom. My mom says that. I look like my Italian grandmother, and I look like my dad's mom. It's weird, but I do. I call my dad. Thank you, love and life. And I'm like trying to catch my breath. I'm freaking out. And I'm like, he hit me. And he's like, what the hell? What happened? Who hit you? Don't move. I'll be there in 3 hours. My dad drives here from Omaha, right, to Kansas City. And he comes up. I greet him at the door. Hey, Hope. And he says, where is Dan O'Connor? I want to know where he is. Take me to Dan O'Connor. And I'm like kind of trying to explain what happened. And he's like not listening. He wants to hear about it. So we go to Dan O'Connor's office, which is in total silence. It's in the silent part of the organization where everybody is getting auditing. It's called the HGC, the Hubbard Guidance Center. And that is where all the paying people are getting professional auditing. Okay. And that's where Dan's office is, because Dan is in charge of all the auditing. He's called the senior case supervisor. Hey, Wendy Brewer. I'm sorry you had a bad day too. That sucks. So he's the senior CS is what he's called. And he's the eye in the sky. He's in the ivory tower is what LRH refers to it as. He's in charge of Dan O'Connor knows everything about every single person. If you've ever gone in session, he's read every single thing you've given up. So he knows everything about you. So we go into this quiet part of the org, and my dad pounds on his door. You have to be silent in the HGC. So he's like making noise. Dan opens the door, and he's in his face. My dad's in his face, and he's like, show me what you did to her. Hit me how you hit her. Show me what you did to my child, right? So in this moment, I'm like, my heart's pounding, right? I'm scared, but I'm also like, wow. It's kind of like that time, Susie, yes. Sorry, my bra's hanging out. It's kind of like that time that Fred did the right thing. Remember when we were at that party and that guy was disrespectful and Fred was like, we're leaving. And I said, well, these are your friends. He was like, I'll get new friends. That's kind of what I thought was happening, but it backfired. Why did your dad turn against you so quickly? Did he believe what those bad people said about you? Yes. And I'm about to get to that. Yes, GeoPlanet Jane. Yes, Muffet Lou, I know. So Dan and my father don't really know each other. Maggie Kittinger comes in. At this point, there's too much noise. And she's the highest person posted in the org. She's the executive director. She's been a friend of my dad's since the 70s. She used to come into Omaha to our house and spend the night for weekends at a time when I was like 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. Okay. She hates me. She comes in and she's like, Gene, get away from him and sit down. Just sit down. She's trying to chill him out. She finally gets him to sit down and she says, tell your dad what you've been doing. Tell your dad that you pulled all of this in. Tell your dad that this has nothing to do with Dan, that this is your fault and only your fault and why it's your fault. And tell your dad about your non-interpulation order. So I'm like panicking, I'm shaking, and he says, what is this? Is this true? And I said, it is true. He didn't know this. And she's trying to obviously throw me under the bus, right? And I said, I do have a non-interpulation order. That is true. I said, but I did what I was supposed to do. And she said, no, you didn't. You're entertaining the men of this organization, and it's causing our statistics to crash. Like you're single-handedly taking down this organization. Why did Maggie hate you? That's a good question. My mother was married to a man named Jeff Kittinger after my dad and my mom divorced. Jeff cheated on my mom with Maggie. Then my mom divorces Jeff, and Jeff marries Maggie and stayed married to Maggie until he died years and years ago. So that's why her name is Maggie Kittinger. Maggie always hated me because she hated my mom. And so Jeff hated us. He hated children. Jeff had, I believe, 2 kids. Don't hold me to this, but he signed over his rights. He had like twins. And a lot of Scientologists do that. They don't want to have anything to do with them. So I'm pretty positive that's not entirely like a fact, but it's a fact he hated me, but I'm pretty sure had his own kids that he wanted nothing to do with. I'll tell you in a minute, Jane. So Jeff and Maggie got together, and then Maggie hated me. One time I talked shit about Jeff. She wrote a high crime suppressive person report on me. So coming from the executive director of the org, writing that on me is a huge deal. And she said that I was trying to take down a Scientologist in good standing. Like that woman was evil. Maggie Kittinger was a horrible person. I think she's still very much in charge. So back to what is a non-interpulation order? This is so weird that we're talking about this. This is, by the way, here's how it's spelled, so you guys know. Interpulate. That's a huge word in Scientology, right there, interpulate. We use it all the time. So you may say, you're interpolating me. That's an interpolating story. That's a lot of interpolation. Don't interpolate him. It's the same thing as keyed in or keyed out, right? Oh, Susan Cook, that's sad. Hey, Tennessee Taters, welcome in. So it's an important word to know. Well, Geoplanet Jane, there's a ton of words. You're saying that's not a real word. Scientology has its own language. So there's a ton of words in Scientology that you would say are not real words. Whether you say that or not, we use them, right? It's a language. It's a very manipulative way of keeping people in the cult. We have our own language, right? So interpolate means the same thing as keying a person in. It's the same thing as what we use also, restimulate. It's a word that we use all the time. Why are you restimulated? I feel restimulated. Is that movie restimulating? It's triggering. That's all it means. It's keyed in, keyed out. So keyed in is the same thing. I just watched a movie I'll never watch because I heard it's scary. Let's just pretend I watched it. I just watched A Clockwork Orange. I'm very keyed in, interpolated, and restimulated. All 3 of those things mean the same thing. Upset about something. So if you're like, you just interpolated your brother, like you caused him to be very upset. You just keyed in your brother. You caused him to be freaked out by something. You just restimulated your brother. You caused him to be triggered by something. That's all it means, guys. Okay? Different Jeff. Yeah, Castro. About this story time arc, I was wondering, does she's out to lunch have a special meaning in Scientology? It just means checked out, not with it. That's all that means. So I have a Susan Cook, you're a little angel, baby, and everybody knows it. Thank you for the super sticker, babe. I hope you are able to share Dan O'Connor stories with those lawyers, Thornton and Andrews and Thornton. Well, if they ever get back to me, I will. So I'm trying to explain this to you guys. Tell me if you're not understanding. It's important to me that you grasp what I'm saying and I don't use words you don't know what they mean. I get a non-interpulation order issued on me about, I'm going to guess, a month prior to the Dan O'Connor fax machine day in May. And what happened was, very close together in time, the Treasury Secretary, which is the head of Division 3, his name was Tom, and he worked right outside of my office. Okay. Tom, I'm going to guess, I was 16 at the time. I'm going to guess Tom was between 45 and 55. Okay. So he's hitting you, and that was her response. Time mark, yes, but it was his mother that said that. She hated me. Hey, Katie did it. So one day I've got the door open to HCO. I've been working there. How old was Dan when that happened, baby steps? Dan was, I believe, about 10 years older than me as well. So he was either like 25 or 26 when that happened. I was 16. So I got the door open. Tom is outside working like he always is. I'd known this man for the 2 years I worked there. Okay. He played really cool music. And so I have my door open. You cannot leave HCO and leave the door open. That's where all the ethics files are. Nobody's allowed in there except HCO personnel. So I have the door open. I'm filing ethics reports and I'm listening to his music. He played killer music. I've known this guy for a long time. I'm against the file cabinet. Like I got it like about to here on me. I wasn't like bent over. And Tom comes up behind me. Keep in mind, I've known this dude for a long time. He's never done this. He comes up behind me, scares the ever living shit out of me, flips my body around and pushes me. Really, hey, Danique, pushes me. We're talking about when I was a child, Danique, when I was on staff at the Church of Scientology in Kansas City. And he pushes me enough to where the cabinet closes the door and pushes my body against this thing. I remember it hurting. Like it almost kind of knocked the wind out of me. You know how like you hit your back so hard? And so at the same time, this happened within a matter of seconds. And in that matter of seconds, this man's tongue is almost down my throat. Hey, Jessica LaBarber, his hand is up my shirt. He's groping me. He's grabbing me. This is all happening like I didn't even know it was going to happen. And his tongue. And I remember this so clearly because he tasted so bad. Like he had bad breath. And I'm freaking out and I shove him off of me. And I'm like, what are you doing? Get out of here. I was more worried about him being an HCO than doing what he did to me. I was like, you can't be in here. Get out of here. So I immediately wrote that up. I immediately wrote up what happened. Okay. I did what I was supposed to do. This makes me think of the Danny Masterson case. Those women wrote what happened. They reported it within the Church of Scientology. They just had to take the blame for it. They got in trouble for it, of course, right? So he leaves. I wrote up what happened. I reported it. Within all of this happened within about 30 days. The house I was living at, we had hey, Sandy Kovacs. We had a party on Friday night with other Scientologists. We never do this. But in that time period, there was quite a few people, all in the age range of like Dan. There was another one named Molly, Ben, Stefan, me. No, he wasn't there. That's who I can think of right now. we had what you would call a party. So it was after post on a Friday night, and everybody was drinking like sodas. You don't party in Scientology. It was kind of a big deal, and it made me feel special that like we were all together doing something normal as normal can get. Wow. New life plan. My big sis had a surprise baby as a teen. I was 14. I knew it was true as my parents told me, but I was sure it's stillborn. I felt my whole reality shift as I slide down the wall. That's how I think Jean bailing on protecting you as this night was like, I am so sorry, my friend. I love you and I love how much you share with us. And it means it makes me feel therapeutic when you share stuff. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for your giant super chat. I love you. I love it when you're here. I know you have a very important job. Hey, Starlina, and I just really appreciate your time when you come in here. Every one of you, I do. Scientology did not back you up or even acknowledge what happened. How surprising. Exactly. So we're at this party, and newer guy who's a public, his name is Stefan. I'm not going to say his last name, although I will say Tom got declared years later. And after my outing with Aaron on YouTube, Tom sent me a message. And he was crying in his message. He said that. And he said, I am so sorry for what I did to you. And he said, I'm sorry that he said, I feel like I caused your father to treat you the way he did. And he said, I am so sorry that I had a hand in that. I couldn't believe it. I cried when I read it. That guy has been declared a suppressive person. He is totally not a Scientologist. But I thought, what a great, nice, kind thing. It's always amazing when someone takes accountability, even if it was for something awful. I'm really impressed by that. And I thought it was kind. Hey, Tony P. Yeah, Jessica LaBarber. So at this party, this new guy's name was Stefan. He was 31 years old. I was 16. We're at this party. Hey, Kevin Conklin. I love you, Kevin Conklin. This is uncomfortable, but I'm just going to say this. So we have this party. Dan spends the night. Oh, Brandy. That's who else was there. I'm at the house where Brandy owns. She's like 27, 28. Dan's approximate age. They start dating. She throws the party. I'm at the party. Dan spends the night with her, and I live there. I'm renting a room in her house. I had moved out of the house I was in. So she throws the party. Dan spends the night, and this Stefan guy has the hots for me. He's flirting it up with me at this party. And I go to bed. We sat up. A lot of us spent the night in the house. It wasn't weird. Like a lot of us spent the night. This was a Friday night. I remember this. And we stayed up talking, and he was flirting with me. And we're sitting on the floor up against a couch, and there's like a coffee table in front of us, and we're kind of slouched down, almost laying together. We didn't kiss that I recall. No, he maybe did try to kiss me after he did what he did. He grabs my hand and he puts it on his unmentionables. Okay. Like lifts his shorts and puts my hand on his, and if I'd had a lot of experience with the D, I would tell you at the time, I would have been like, that's disappointing, sir. But I didn't know better. And I'm a kid. He puts my hand on it. And I said, I'm not doing this. I had been having sex with Shane, who was my boyfriend. He wasn't at the party, but he was my boyfriend for 2 years. He was 26 at the time. I was 16. I started sleeping with Shane when I was 14, but that's the only sex I had ever had. And I said to this guy, this isn't going to happen, dude. Like I didn't even know this dude. So Dan, he spends the night, the guy did, and I went to bed, but nothing happened beyond that. Dan gets up in the morning to go to post and sees me laying there with this guy. So he goes into the org earlier than me, and he has it all squared away, right? So I get to the org. I am barely up the top step, and Maggie and Dan are like, get the fuck over here. You are in so much trouble. And I was like, what now? So they issued me, I didn't even have a choice. A non-interpulation order is on blue paper. You know how a suppressive person order is on goldenrod? Non-interp orders are on blue paper, okay? So I am handed this blue sheet of paper with a stamp on it. And it says, Reese Wally has a non-interpulation order issued against her. She's been entertaining the men of the organization, bringing down our stats. She's been getting report after report. And I'm reading this. And I said, I was coming in to write a report on him, and I did write a report on him after I got my order. And I said, I didn't do anything. And Dan was like, it doesn't matter. It's a bad look. You already screwed around with Tom. And Tom was the report that I wrote on from the Treasury Secretary that pushed me up against the filing cabinet. And I said, I didn't screw around with Tom. I reported that. And he was like, it doesn't fucking matter. You pulled this in. And he was like, and you're a liability to this organization at this point because you're just fucking promiscuous with all the men. And I'm like, that's not what happened. Meanwhile, guys, I'm 16 years old. Shouldn't have been there in the first place. Like 16 years old. So, yeah, Kim is blue. Scientology rules are very messed up. So that's how I got that order. A non-interpulation order is very, very, very scary because they can put however many days they want to put. But on mine, it said, if you get any other reports, any kind of a report written on you, if you get any kind of a knowledge report, if you get a report written on you for being late to post, if you get a report written on you for anything, you will be declared a suppressive person. That's the next step. So that is a scary order to get issued on you. As a Scientologist, all they do is dangle the policy of being declared a suppressive person order, an SP declare. All they do is dangle that over your head, right? So I was terrified. I thought I have to not get a report within 30 days or I'm declared. And all I could think was like, what will my dad say? Like, what if I get declared? I'm like hyperventilating. What time frame, Kim is blue? What do you mean? Always late. So the men weren't pedophiles. You were entertaining them. Oh, that makes me so angry. You were a child. Well, that's anybody. That's any woman or man in Scientology that's sexually assaulted, abused, anything. If they report it, you have to apologize to the abuser. It's not the abuser. It's you. 30 days. Yeah, Kim is blue. Hey, Lori Lee. So I am freaking out. Joel Sachs. I'm happy to see you, Joel. I'm freaking out, right? So then fast forward, guys, to when my dad shows up to save me. Now we're back in the room with Maggie, who hates me, right? And she's saying, leave Dan alone. Your daughter is the problem. Hey, Aspire to Inspire. So is this all making sense now? I really tell my stories where I want them to make sense. Hey, Megan Roberts, your daughter is the problem. So now we're back face to face with my dad. And my dad's raging mad at Dan. And she comes in and says, tell your dad what you did. Tell your dad this is not Dan's fault. Tell your dad that you've been crashing our statistics of the org and you have a non-interpulation order on you. And then in that moment, my dad looks at me and says, what? Is that true? And I look at this bitch and I was like, how fucking dare you? Like, how dare you turn this on me? So I said that to her. I said, Dad, it is true that I have a non-interpulation order. But I looked at Maggie and Dan and I said, that's not fair. I reported those men. I reported that happened to me. She was spinning it. Donna Cooper, thank you. She is spinning it like I did it to them. I sexually assaulted these men. That's not how it happened. Did I even know what promiscuous meant? Yes. The only reason I knew that is because they told me many, many, many times what a piece of shit suppressive person my mother was, and that she was promiscuous and trash. Everybody told me that in Scientology. Like, it's good that you don't have a relationship with your mom. She's an SP. She's very promiscuous. She's a terrible person. Yeah, they used to say that to me all the time. Yes, it makes sense. Everyone is connected. Maggie hates you, files false reports. Dan threw a fact, Scientology, and they covered it up. Maggie and Dan love each other, right? They're covering for each other. Maggie fucking hates me because Maggie's married to a man that was married to my mom, and she can't let that go, right? And so it's all very connected. And Maggie loves my dad. So of course she's gonna, what's the word? Placate? I'm not sure. Yes, Geoplanet Jane. So my dad definitely believed in it. He believed it. So it broke him. You could see the minute I said yes, but I said, I reported those men. And my dad was like, it reminds me, I always think in movies or lyrics. If you, one of my very favorite movies is called Cruel Intentions, like from the 90s with Sarah Michelle Gellar, Reese Witherspoon, Ryan Felipe. I love the end of that movie when they're at his funeral and Sarah Michelle Gellar's the evil one and she's always gotten away with shit. She's super evil. And at the end of that movie, they're playing that song Bittersweet Symphony and everybody figures out it was her because they show all these reasons why. And she wears this cross. She's a Catholic. She goes to Catholic school. She wears a cross around her neck, but no one knows this except Ryan Phillippe. And they show it at the end. She keeps cocaine in it and she like opens it and everyone figures it out at the end. She's evil. And the priest comes up and like opens the cross and all the coke flies out. And he goes, and everybody's looking at her like shaking their head. That's how I felt though in that moment. My dad looked at me and he was just like, it was just roaring disappointment, right? Yes, I drew it in. I pulled that in. Heather, I pulled that in. So that's that my dad's whole mindset flipped. And of course, why? Because you've got a person I can't go up against telling him like Maggie Kittinger and Dan O'Connor are the end all be all at that church. If they say something, it's a fact. You're never going to believe your own kid if they say it. And my dad didn't stick up for me. Now, that's not something I would do. I've had teachers, I've had that stuff happen with Huxley, and I've always advocated for him for that reason. Like that teacher last year that was like, he's a problem for this, and this. And I was like, wait a minute. What time did that happen? When did that happen? Who saw it? I'd like to see the video. Like I was a hard ass because I was like, I'm not going to blindly believe you. I know my kid, like I'm not trying to give you a hard time, but I'm going to need to see some proof before I just pull a Gene Wally and break my kid's heart. That ain't happening, right? I'm so very sorry that you experience this. I truly mean that. How dare not one adult stood up for you. Thank you, always late. And I'm glad I can talk about this stuff more. I really am happy that you guys asked me about it. You guys got to ask me about it more if you're interested. I'm not forcing you. But we really got to get the word out more, guys. We got to use our voice more here. And it really makes me think of like the Danny Masterson, the women in that story. They did the right thing. They reported what happened. They didn't get protected. This is the same thing. I'm just one of many, 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 many. And we got to stand up against that. We have to be louder about it. So my dad believes her instantly. And he looks at me like they look at Sarah Michelle Gellar at the end of that. He literally looks at me like this. He says nothing. And he goes walking out through the HGC, the Hubbard Guidance Center. He goes through the academy, which is where you do all your training. And he goes through that door to get to the very top of these marble, beautiful stairs in that building. It was a long flight of stairs to go down. And he gets down like the third stair and I'm chasing him. No one's chasing me. No one's chasing him except me. And I'm like, Dad, wait, Dad. I was like, stop. I said, will you listen to me? And I'm trying to plead my case. And I'm like, I reported that. I didn't do it. Like I'm yelling that, right? Thank you, Jenny Sorensen. And I'm glad, SoCal Joy. And he turns around finally. And he absolutely, like cold as ice, he says, I am not your dad anymore. Do not call me dad. Don't ever call me again. And find your own financial way. I don't want anything to do with you. And it was that matter of fact, it was very black and white. It was as black and white as my shirt. And that was it. And he walked down the stairs and I can get through this now without crying. And I'm proud of myself for doing that. He walked down those stairs and he left. And so Iwa said, what caused him to be so angry with you and believe it? That's how that happened. And then Shane was my boyfriend. He worked during the day. They call that moonlighting. I don't know if that's a real term in English, but in Scientology, when you have Thank you, Kim is Blue, for the vote of confidence there. During the day, he had a job. He came into post after my dad left. And in between that time, thank you, Geoplanet Jane, I don't know, but I want to say about an hour after my dad left, I walked to the bathroom and I did not feel well. Of course, that was the worst day of probably my life. And I didn't feel well. And I peed blood. I stood up from the toilet and I looked down and there was like drops of blood. It was in the toilet. And I was like, oh my God. And I wasn't on my period and I was in pain. And I went out to Wendy Keene, who ended up joining the Sea Org. She was the DED, the Deputy Executive Director. She's under Maggie. So Maggie's at the top of the list. She's the ED, the Executive Director. Wendy's the DED. Okay. And I go to Wendy, who'd always been fairly nice to me. She was really rough. She was I think Wendy's from New York. And she was always like, had really dark humor. And I got along with her pretty well. But she was also Gestapo, right? I say to her, I need to get some medical help. I'm peeing blood. And Wendy's very much like, fuck you if you think anybody's going to help you with anything at this point. You have destroyed this org. What you did today is the worst thing that's happened here. And she was like, and you fucked things up with your dad. And they were upset about that because my dad was a huge whale. He was giving tons of money to our org. He was buying packages, right? Like he was flowing money to them. You think he's going to do that now? So she's like, it's all about that. The status, the money, the income, our stats. Like you don't matter as a human being. You're the last thing we fucking care about. We care about the fact that our stats are now going to crash, right? So Shane comes in. Nobody's listening to me that I need to see a doctor. And I'm not you guys know me. I don't run to the doctor. I'm still pissed that I went to the ER a month ago. I got my bill for it today, and I'm still pissed that I went. I wish I had never gone. Not worth the thousands of dollars now that I'm going to fucking owe for that. I'm really mad about it. I don't go to the doctor lightly, okay? So for me to be running around going, I need to go to the doctor. Yeah, it is pure evil, Don. So then he comes into work and I'm like, I'm peeing blood. Something's wrong. I need to see a doctor. I'm in pain. And I hadn't even told him what had happened that day. He was like, let's go. So thank God Shane was not a born-in Scientologist. He had only been in Scientology for a few years. So like he had a shot at life still and like what's normal and what's not. So he takes me to an ER and the ER thinks that I am a drug addict using needles. Because I was super, Geoplanet Jane, this is after insurance. I have insurance, Geoplanet Jane. I got the bill today for what insurance covered and didn't cover. I got my portion of what I owe. So the doctor says, I'm super jaundiced. My eyeballs were like yellow. My skin was yellow. And the doctor says, I need to talk to you. I need to ask you something. And I'm like, okay. And he's like checking my arms. And he says, do you do drugs? And I was like, dude, I just got in trouble for doing cough drops. I don't do drugs. I'm a Scientologist. And he's like checking my body. And he's like, you don't use drugs. And I'm like, I don't use fucking drugs, dude. Like no. And so I ended up having to have 2 different surgeries. My gallbladder was overproducing stones. So to this day, I don't know why I was peeing blood. If it was the gallbladder issue or if it heightened something with Dan being on top of me. Dan was a large man and he was on top of me, hitting me and choking me, sitting right here on my stomach. So, okay, Dawn. So I'm not sure to this day what caused it, but I had to have a surgery where they put you into like a twilight sleep and they went down through the throat and they removed gallstones individually. That was successful. And then I had to stay for a week and have my gallbladder removed. And of course, Scientologists don't believe in surgery. They don't believe in medication. So they're, of course, trying to come get me out of the hospital. And social services came because I'm an underage kid. And I called my dad. Hey, Marissa Martin in the hospital bed. Jolie, welcome. And I hope you're doing okay. And my dad says, fuck you. Don't call me. And I said, I'm terrified. I'm in a hospital bed. They're telling me I need to have surgery. They're telling me there's something wrong with me. And my dad is like, I don't care. Don't care. Doesn't matter to me. And he hung up on me. And so I ended up having the surgery. He got approval. The surgeon got approval from my dad, but it was a real mess. And that is the day where everything came to a break in my life. And I didn't much care about anything after that. And that's when I left. Pretty much, I went to visit my mom and recover for a week. And then after that, I came back and they put me in lower conditions. And so I was reading that, Yadira. They put me in lower conditions. I was on the floor scrubbing toilets, and one of my stitches popped open. And I was like, one of my stitches popped. I'm bleeding. Like it popped because I was doing all this lower condition, what we call MEST work, which is matter, energy, space, and time. It's the sixth dynamic. So like when you're in trouble, like even when I was little, my dad would be like, go do some MEST work. It's a Scientology term. Go do some fucking MEST work. Like that means go get to work, white glove, clean, scrub, whatever it is. So I what we call blue. I blew staff, and a blow. Hey, ghostwriter, a blow is defined as an unexcused leave. So I called, and I had my half sister, who's 12 years older than me, lived in Omaha, and she came and got me in the middle of the night. She came and got me, and I grabbed all the things that I could possibly grab. And that's why I don't have a lot of pictures of my childhood to this day. And because my dad threw everything away, my mom left with the clothes on her back. And she and I are driving to Omaha at like 3 a.m. in her Buick LaCrosse. She had like some old ass car. I will, Geoplanet Jane. And we're halfway to Omaha, and I'm freaking out. And she's like, I haven't seen Sam in years. And she's like, I need to tell you something. And I was like, okay. And she says, I'm a drug addict. And I was like, you're what? And she said, I'm a drug addict. I do drugs. I smoke meth. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, this is not a better situation for me. And I'm very much still believing like I'm a full Scientologist. So I was like, I can't be around that. I'm an ethical being. Like, I can't be around this shit. So we get to Omaha, and Kim is Blue keeps pushing me to write a book. One day, maybe, babe. One day, maybe, if I get the courage to do it. And I told you, I'm not good with words. I don't know how to write. So maybe someday, Kim. We get to Omaha and to her little tiny apartment. And I have a niece that lives there that's 12 years younger than me. And Sam says, so sorry you didn't grow up in a safe, carefree environment. You're a testament to strength, perseverance, and self-advocating. Well done, my friend. I love you, Kay Thompson. Thank you for saying that. I wish I had. But you know what? I don't feel sad about it. I've got my own child now, and I love that he is in a school. Like, I didn't even make it to 10th grade. Huxley's in 10th grade now. It's inspiring. You know, he is where I was at this time. And thank you for your super chat. That's how I try to spin it to the positive. Like, at least he has a choice. He has a chance at life. I didn't at the time. And Kim is Blue, I love you. I love you, Joel Sachs. That is such a nice thing to say. Thank you, Joel. And I'm glad you're here. I love it when you're here, Joel. So my sister says to me, you'll never do drugs. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I won't. Like, I don't even want to be here now that I know you do drugs. I had no idea her lifestyle, right? I've been on staff the last 2 years. So I'm at her place, living in her place in this shitty little dump ass apartment in Omaha. And in it, like a month, probably after living there, maybe a few weeks, I'm sitting in this chair in her living room one night, and she walks up to me, and it's like this, but longer. And it was a piece of foil, and it's folded like this. And she walks up to me. Love you, Jenny Sorensen. With a pen that she took apart. And she walks up to me with this and she goes, "You're going to end up doing it anyway." And she goes, "You're going to do it with me if you're going to do it at all." And I'm like, dude, I think I was reading a book. And I said, "Do what? I'm not a drug addict." I was like, "I'm not tempted by this. I'm not doing it." Sam was extremely, extremely pushy like my dad. Sam didn't take no for an answer. She was not that kind of girl. Sam was a bully, like, for lack of a better word. Sam was a bully. It's no wonder you put so much value and worth into cleaning. All Scientologists do, Pat Jonas. Hey, Jojo. All Scientologists do. Mess work is very important. White gloving is another term we use. My dad used to say it all the time. He'd be like, "Get to work and white glove this house." And so they go around and they check to make sure that you cleaned. I never sit around. Unless I'm on a Zoom call, I'm constantly doing stuff. We also have another word that GeoPlanet Jane's going to say is not a word. I think it's a made-up word, but we do something called dekludging. So you'll catch me going, if you called me and said, "What are you doing?" I'd be like, "Oh, I'm just dekludging." Like, dekludging would be like, "This doesn't need to be here. Oh, let's clean this. Let's donate that. We don't need to have all this stuff here." It's dekludging. I don't think that's a real word. But anyway, Sam comes up to me and says, "You're going to do it." I said, "I'm not fucking doing this." Yep. Kludge. Yep. And I say, "I'm not doing it." And she's like, "I didn't fucking ask." And I was like, oh my God. I said, "Sam, I don't want to do this." So she says, "Suck when you see smoke." That's what she says. Suck when you see smoke. Like, she's done arguing with me about it. And I said, "I'm not doing it." And she shoves it into my mouth and she lights underneath this thing and all this smoke starts coming up. And she hands me the thing. And she goes, "Put that in your mouth and suck when you," she goes, "Go now." And she's lighting it. So I do it. And the second I did that, I became a drug addict. I mean, I was addicted for a couple of years. I did that for a couple of years and I never stopped and I loved it. I was in love with it immediately. I never felt better. It's decluttering. Yeah, is what it is. I had never felt better. All of my problems went away immediately, like emotional issues, being sad about my father, knowing I'm going to hell in Scientology's version. I'm going to be declared a suppressive person. All these things that like were going through my mind since I had left staff were gone. And I felt incredible. I had so much confidence. I had all this energy. Like, I'm kind of high energy person anyway. And so I was just like, oh my God, I have so much to do. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to clean. I was so into everything. I would take apart the VCR and put it back together again. I got the tweezers out and I was like plucking at my face constantly. It was insane. Yeah. She says it's instantly addicting from what she understands. Yeah. That's probably why you're so attached to your clothes and shoes now, Dawn. No question. People like to make fun of me like I'm some, I'm such a grifter and I'm addicted. I'm a materialist and I'm all about material. I'm not. I'm not about status at all. I don't care where anything is from, but I attach to my things. No doubt. I am so attached and I put so much value and I put so many emotions into the things I have. Like, I feel like because they were all taken away from me and I lost so many of my things, I put so much importance on my things. If I love something, I'm like, oh my God, this means everything to me. These were $5 for both at some stupid little antique store. I wear them all the time and I pick them up and I'm like, I love these. I love these so much. They mean so much to me. Like, everything means something to me. It's so weird, but I do it. I'm like, it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to mean anything. It doesn't need to have a label. It's just, it's mine and it's not going to be taken away from me. And I bought it. And I know that it's something that means something to me. It's so stupid, but it's the truth, right? It's not like I'm just this addict where I just go buy anything and everything. It has to jump out at me. It has to mean something. It's almost like, it's like getting a pet and then I name it and I take care of it and I put it in a special place and I polish it and I clean it. And like, I really take care of my things. Well, I haven't seen you in a long time. Welcome in, Inner Sparkle Monkey. You broke free of meth after 2 years. You are rare and amazing. Thank you. My sister didn't. And I'm still sad about that. Now, I don't want to say she's, thanks, JoJo. I don't want to say she's still doing stuff. I don't know. I know she's still alive. But I know that she struggled for a very long time with drugs, a very long time. I know that she went to jail at one point, but I will tell you this about my sister. I hate what happened to her. Thank you, P. Taylor. I hate it because she never had a chance. Sam never got a chance at life. My dad treated her like absolute shit. She started doing drugs at like a very young teenage age. She was in and out of the house. She didn't care. Like, he didn't care about her. He just called her a suppressive being. Like, she didn't have any parent. Her mother was not around. She didn't have a parent there to go, hey, are you all right? What's going on? Are you okay? Do we need to get you some help? Maybe I could just have an interaction with you and see what's going on. He totally kicked her to the curb. And it was sad. She didn't have any shot at life. Sam didn't. She didn't. And so, yeah, I became a drug addict. Wild, right? And so from 16 to 18, I did drugs. And your first bonded parents were like a snake and a cat. It's also no wonder you were attached to animals. Animals and George Carlin is all I watched all the time. I would sit there. I had a routine. So I never told you guys this, and it's stupid. There was no reason to tell you. It's not like it's magical or important. But my mom, before my mother left, when I was 6 years old, my mom left. I had this tiny little chair. I don't know where it came from, but it was my chair. And it was a wicker chair, like sewn together chair, like wood, but like had like rope around it. It was a little child's chair. It was a little chair. And every day after school, when I was 6, so I went to kindergarten. I remember kindergarten. My teacher was Mrs. Wassam. And I remember my mom took me and picked me up from kindergarten. And so after school, my mom would bring me home and she would make me a half of a peanut butter and jelly. Thank you, Hux. Oh, is it shaming? Bubsy? Wow. Guys, look who it is. He never makes an appearance. Bubsy. Oh, he's our special one. He's huge. Seamus got really big. Bubsy only likes Bobo. Seamus sleeps with Bo every day of his life. God, how cute. So my mom would make me chicken and stars soup. Mindy Doolan, remind me of good times, I think, due to my childhood essay, trauma changes you. Mindy, I'm sorry that happened to you, but you're absolutely right. Why didn't social services help me when I was in the hospital? I'm not sure. They seem to have dropped the ball on that. I just know getting my hospital records, Jane, that it said in there, I didn't know this until recently, a long time had gone by. The doctor spoke with my dad on the phone and got approval to do the surgery. So maybe that was a thing back then. You know, that was a long time ago. They obviously didn't do anything about it though. So my mom would make me a half of peanut butter and jelly and chicken and stars soup. Sam was an absolute bully. I agree. And chicken and stars Campbell's soup. That was my routine every day. And I remember sitting in my little chair and she'd put a tray over it and I would watch Sesame Street or whatever. And after my mom left, that became my routine every day. My dad would leave for days at a time and go hustle pool. My sister was gone. And I was like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. This went on for years. And I would make a can of chicken and stars soup after school. And I would sit there with my ferret. I had a cat named Max. I had a ferret named Bungie because she used to jump off from really high places. I had my boa constrictor named Diamond. I had my Boston Terrier. He was a little tiny Boston Terrier named Shorty. I had a guinea pigs named Geronimo. I named all these kids Geronimo. And that was my animals. And so that was my routine. I came home every day from school and my dad would not be there. He'd leave me money on the table if I needed to walk up to it was called Town and Country. It was a gas station. And I would go buy like candy and gummies and taffy and stupid shit. He got rid of Sam's mom Sam's mom left when she was 2. So that's what I did every day for years and years and years. And I swear to God, the only thing that kept me sane and happy and like totally fine, and I think my dad knew this, was that I had those animals. I think he was happy to get me animals. I was like, can I get a ferret? Can I get a snake? Can I get a cat? And he was like, yes, absolutely. Because they babysat me. They kept me busy. Like I loved my animals. I came home, hey, Stacy, Toms. I would come home every day and I would make my chicken and stars. I would sit in that chair, even though I kind of outgrew it. And I would watch George Carlin, and I would sit there and I'd wrap my boa constrictor around my neck. She got long, so she would wrap around my neck and then she would go like this over my head. She would totally go over my head like a headband. And I had Shorty next to me. I had a cat in my lap and I had my ferret. And I would take pieces of my peanut butter and jelly and I would feed it to the ferret. And I did that every day. I did that every single day. And I know you're about to go, how the hell did you have a boa constrictor near a ferret and a cat? She was well fed. She never tried to attack. She never bit. She was a really cool boa constrictor. I loved her. She was full of personality. But that was my life every day for years. And then you guys don't know this. When I joined staff, did you tell everything that happened at the org plus the hospital? Oh, God, no. I didn't tell anything that happened at the org when I went to the ER. I didn't give up Dan O'Connor. I never told on him. I never met my father's dad, either one of my grandpa's reflections. They were both dead by the time I was born. I wish I had met them. I heard they were amazing men. They were both male men, weirdly enough. You guys don't know this. I had a boa constrictor. Yeah, she was beautiful. We got rid of her because she got up to like 8 feet. She was huge. Her head, her body, she was really big. The snake never tried to squeeze my neck. The only reason the snake would do that was for warmth. They weren't doing it to try to strangle you. She would go around my arms. She would go over my head. She'd like curl up underneath my hair. Like it was just because she liked the warmth. It wasn't creepy. Yeah, Marissa Martin. So I joined staff when I'm 14. Me too, Jessamine. And when they get me to sign the staff contract, my animals were everything, right? And they say to me, my dad says, because he's wanting to get rid of me, right? My dad is pushing to get rid of me. I just finished 9th grade. He wants to go party it up with all the women he's fucking around with. He doesn't want this kid here. So my dad and Liz Carr, right, are both like, sign the contract. And I'm like, okay. But my biggest thing, I was excited to go, but I was like, I love you, Joel. So proud of you. You're so strong. Joel, thank you for that. Thank you for that so much. It means a lot. And again, I love it when you're here. So thank you for being here. It's probably late where you are. Thank you, Joel. My biggest holdup on leaving was my animals. And I was like, I don't want to be without my animals. And they said, don't worry. Once you get posted, you can take time off and come back and forth. Like you can go back and forth. No problem. And so I was like, you're sure? Like that's the only reason that was like my hang up. Of course, a minor can't sign a contract. I signed a billion-year contract too. That was my hang up. And so my dad's like, no, I'll come get you. You can come back. You can absolutely see them. I'll hang on to them. Don't worry. They'll be fine. You can come back and forth. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll do it. So the second I get to staff, it literally was prison. That was not the case. Of course, that was not the case. And as each week that went by, I'm having to do all this training. You got to do all these courses to become a staff member. You got to do all these tests and checkouts and shit like that. And I get through all that. I'm getting through it. And I'm like, can I go now? Can I go now? Can I go now? And they're like, no, you can't leave. Like, you're never going to get approval to leave. And I didn't. And that's correct, GeoPlanet Jane. My dad gave them to the pound. I don't ever talk about that. I had had those animals for years. And they were all that I had. Those animals were all like, I looked forward to it every single day, just like I am with Gertie and my animals now. Every time I look at them, it's like I've never seen them before. I love my animals so much. I love animals more than anything in this world. I love animals. And I loved that ferret so much. I loved her so much. I used to just carry her around everywhere. And she would dance on her hind legs. And some ferrets are not as friendly as others. And she was such a sweet, like friendly ferret. And that was so fucking heartbreaking for me. Like not knowing what happened to them. Like not knowing if I don't know if they went to a kill shelter. And I really haven't dealt with that. My ferret was white. She was not albino, though. She didn't have red eyes. She had a gray streak down her back, and she had black eyes. I don't think about it a lot. Because I feel guilty about it. I feel like it's my fault. I should not have trusted my dad, and I should not have left to join staff. I feel like it was very irresponsible. I feel like it was I feel like I let them down. And to this day, it's I think of animals like I imagine like doing that to an animal would be like abducting a child. I imagine like if you abducted a child, that child would be like, "Where is my mom?" Like terrified, right? Like in a car, wherever they are, like, "What the fuck just happened? Where am I going? Where is my mother?" I feel like I had that ferret. I had that ferret for I had my dog, I had Max, my cat, I had all of those animals, my guinea pig. I had come home every day. It was like I was their mother, and I took care of them every day. And that was my habit every day of my life. I came home, I made my soup, I made my half sandwich like my mom did before she left. And then I would watch something. I was alone. I knew my dad wasn't going to be there. He'd leave money on the table. I was 7, 8 years old when this all started. And I had them then. And this was such a routine year after year. It's like what I looked forward to every day. I'd lift the top of the cage. The snake was in this really cool custom built cage my dad had made. And it was all plexiglass in the front. It was like 6 feet long. And I would lift the top of the cage. It was just really heavy wood. And I'd grab her and I'd go, "Hey, Diamond." And I'd wrap her around my neck while I made my soup. I would get Bungie out, or sometimes she would just be out in the house. But my dad bought this giant cage for my ferret. And it had like wheels in it, and it had a ramp, and like she would run around. And I would open the cage, get her out. And I'm telling you, I'd hold a snake and hold a ferret. No one cared. And I would hold my ferret and I would say hi to Shorty, and I would see him, and I would feed everybody. And then I'd sit down. I was this 7-year-old kid. I'd sit down and I would start watching Silence of the Lambs, or I would start watching George Carlin, and I would sit there and I would eat my soup, and I would pet Max, my Siamese cat. And I had my snake that would sit. It was so funny. She'd do this headband thing where like part of her body would go over my head and then she'd loop around my neck. And Bungie would sit there with me, and I would, like I do with Gertie now. I did that this morning. I had peanut butter toast. And I was on this Zoom call, and I just realized that, oh my God, I did the same thing I would do back then. It was like a mother bird. I would take little pieces of it, and I would pick off the peanut butter. Even though dogs can have peanut butter, I didn't want to give her. Bread is so bad for animals. So I would like take these tiny, tiny little pieces, and Gertie will sit there and watch me. And I would be like, "Here you go." And Bo would go, "Hey, where's mine?" And so I'd do it to him, and I'd give him little pieces. And so I would do that. "Hey, Critters Creations." And my ferret Bungie would do that. And I would do it with Shorty, my dog. And I'd go with my peanut butter and jelly, and I would hand it to him. And I did that every day for years. For years, I did that. And it was really mattered to me. My animals were everything. Like I was so excited to get home every day because let's face it, no one greets you like an animal. I cannot walk down and get the mail. Okay. I can't walk down. I timed it the other day. I said, "How long does it take me to do that walk?" It takes me 10 minutes. That's how long my driveway is. I've got a long gravel driveway, and I got to walk all the way out to the street to get the mail. And I don't mind doing it, but I do it every day. And I always have to prepare Bo. I'm like, "I'll be right back. You can watch me go." And he can't stand it. And I would take him, but I don't want him to go out into the street. So I go out and I get the mail, and I come back, and literally Gertie will be standing on the edge of the couch going, freaking out. And Bo's like, and they just freak the fuck out. And I'm like, "You guys," I do it every day. I go, "You guys watched me. You watched me go down there. It took me 10 minutes. This took 10 minutes. I'm like, "You guys are crazy." But I love it because nobody loves me that much. Nobody loves me that hard where they're like, "We need you. We rely on you. Please, lady." It's amazing. And I never take it for granted. I never have. So I would come home from school, and I was like so excited to get through my front door to no human being there for years, right? But I knew I could count on them. And Shorty would jump up on me, and my ferret would do like little twirls. It was so amazing. I didn't need anyone. I had my animals. That's how I felt. I was not lonely. I probably didn't look like Debbie Zito said this to me recently, because Debbie Zito's a teacher. And she goes, "How did a teacher not notice? Like, how did they not pick up on the fact that you were alone every day and that you were raising yourself? Like, something's not right." Because I don't think I came off as this miserable child. I loved my teachers. I loved every one of my teachers. I was always excited to see my teachers. And then I was excited to go home and see my animals. So I probably didn't come off as this like sad little tortured kid, right? And that went on for years. If I hadn't have had my animals, I would have had a bad life. But the one thing that I'm thankful for that my dad did for me is I would say, can I have this? Can I get a dog? Can I? And he was, I think his asshole self, I don't think it was out of the goodness of his heart. I don't think he was a generous man. I don't think he was like, yes, I want to make my little girl happy. I think my dad was manipulative and smart and said, yes, yes, because then I can leave for a week at a time and you won't even notice I'm gone, right? Like they will babysit you in a way and you will babysit them. Like I think that's how I didn't know as a child, right? Like I was just like, yay, thank you, dad. But looking at it as an adult now and a mother, this asshole was like, win-win, chicken din. Yes, absolutely. Let's get you as many animals that you can be busy with. So you leave me the shit alone, right? But it was win-win because I came home every day excited to have my chicken and stars soup, which was something my mom did, right? And to this day, I have a soup pan on my stove every day. I don't even put it away because I make a can of soup every day. That's all I ever eat. That's all I've ever eaten since my mom started feeding me that. And then I would, no, Linda, I live out in the middle of nowhere. And then I would make my soup that my mom made after she left. And then now as an adult, I remember I got my own apartment when I was 19. I still to this day, when I go to the grocery store, I get Huxley's list of stuff he gives me. What do? I go to the soup aisle. I always eat soup. I'm addicted to soup. Did you ever have an emergency when you were by yourself? There was one time, and this is embarrassing. I wouldn't call it so much an emergency. You guys know I get bloody noses. I would get bad bloody noses when I was alone, and I didn't know how to stop them. There was one time I had a bad asthma attack and I couldn't figure out how to use my breathing machine. It was not functioning. There was a time, and this is embarrassing, but I will admit to it. I love you, Erica. I remember, hold on, I have to take a drink. I was pretty little. I think I was around 8 years old, and I was home alone. And my dad was out doing whatever he was doing, playing pool. And I could not poop. Like I was on the toilet. I was trying so hard. This has happened to me as an adult, but I didn't understand then. I was like constipated and I was like pushing and pushing and blood came out. Now that's happened to me as an adult, but as an 8-year-old, I didn't know what to do. And I remember seeing the blood and I freaked out and I started bawling and no one was there. And this was late. It was like late at night. I remember I was getting ready to go to bed. It was like 11 o'clock. Who taught you about girl stuff, periods? I asked my sister Sam when she came through one time. I said, what do I do? And she was like, here's a tampon, shove it up your cooter. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. So I used pads for a while. I remember I didn't know how to shave my legs. Like someone at school told me about it. And I was like, Dad, I need razors. And he took me and I just figured that out on my own. But I couldn't poop. And I wonder to this day if that's why I have issues with this. Like, pooping in public and being embarrassed about pooping. I'm so much better than I used to be, but my whole life, this has been a problem, a big problem. If you know me, this is a big problem for me. So I call my dad and he's at a bar and I will never forget this. He goes, what? He goes, what's the problem? And it's like loud. I can hear people in the background. You can hear all the bar crowd. And I was like, and I'm bawling. And he's like, I can't hear you. Stop crying. Stop crying. He's like, what's going on? And I said, I can't poop. I was like, I can't poop. I'm having problems and it's bleeding and I can't poop. And he says out loud to all the people around him, he goes, it's my kid. He goes, it's my daughter. He goes, she can't take a shit. She's on the shitter and it won't come out. He goes, anybody got any good advice? And he just busts into laughter. And I hear other people laughing. And I was so embarrassed. I was so fucking embarrassed. Like it took me weeks. I was so embarrassed. Like at that time, I cared about what other people thought about my body. Like now, of course, I talk about it. There's no boundaries there. I don't care. But at the time, being a small child, I was like, oh my God, I'm so like I was just so embarrassed. So that's the only Kestrel. That's the only like emergency that I would say I had. And that's one of the reasons I believe in God now, because so many people have said to me, you had to have had some form of angels. Somebody was watching you. Somebody was watching you. Because I didn't ever burn the house down. I didn't ever hurt myself. I didn't ever get abducted or raped or anything like that as a small little blonde kid walking to and from school from the age of 7 to 13. Like, I am very thankful that no predator was watching my house going, she's alone. She's alone for days. She goes in and out. She takes her dog out. Like, no one was watching my routine. I am very grateful to God and to my angels for that, because I truly believe that it is a miracle that nothing happened to me, that I didn't get hurt, that I didn't get harmed. I'm very, very thankful for that. And so, yeah, Rain, I have no doubt about that now. And as I've told you, the numbers 44, the fours, are supposed to mean protection by angels. And my address growing up was 4438, and I lived on 44th and Leavenworth. And that's why that meant so much to me to get the fours tattooed on me a couple weeks ago. Yeah, the poop thing was so embarrassing for me at the time. Again, I say that now on a show. If I poop in public, I'm really proud of myself. I've always been ashamed and like scared to poop ever since then. When he did that and when he called me fat, I just like shut down. He was dating a woman in Kansas City and we lived in Omaha. Her name was Melinda. I remember this whole story. And he showed me a photo of her in front of his friend Mike. Mike was a pool player too. And I said, very thoughtless. I was like 10 years old when I looked at it. And I said, she looks old. That's what I said. Those were my words. I said, she looks old. And he took the picture back from me. And he said, at least she's not as fat as you are. And I shrunk. I was about an inch tall. I remember the second he said that in front of his friend Mike, and I looked down, I looked at my body, and it was the first time I had looked at my body with shame. And I was just like, I'm so embarrassed right now. I was so embarrassed. And I've had troubles with that ever since. And it's so much better than it used to be. Very possible, Marie Marian. But the animal thing, I'm glad we talked about that today. But to this day, I don't talk about it much, and I really don't think about it. I don't want to think about it because I feel like I let my animals down. And I was saying, to me, it's like a child being abducted. And a lot of people may be offended by my saying that. But when I think about, like, for instance, an old person, this happened when I worked in senior living. An old person may die that had a chihuahua they've had since it was born, and it's 10 years old now, but the person died. And the kids come in, grab the dog, hey, just Joan, and toss it into the pound. Rip it from everything it knows. Its owner died. And suddenly it's like, where am I and why am I in a cage? Or worse, a kill shelter. It makes me think of that like being abducted. Like, what just happened? Why is my environment different? Where's my mom? Like, it's awful. And so I blame myself for that. And I feel like I had such a bond. I had the deepest bond. Man, that's tough. With my animals. I had the deepest bond with those animals. They were my everything, and I was their everything. But I feel like I was their mother. And I came home every day looking forward to them. And so when I was told, don't worry, you'll get to see them. And my dad said, don't worry, you can come see them. And love you, Jolie. And when after like a couple of months went by and they wouldn't let me leave, I would say, okay, I did this course. Can I go now? Okay, I did this course. Can I go now? I want to go see my animals. My dad just said to me on the phone, he said, you can't come. And I said, you told me I could. I said, how are they? How are they doing? And he said, I got rid of them. I gave them to the pound. And I just was shattered. I just thought, God, could you just dig any fucking deeper with the trust with me? It's like, I can't get this guy to not let me down. It's like every single thing was just like, I just thought, is there anything that like you can be a decent fucking human being about? And I just think about that. I try not to. I'm starting to get a headache thinking about it. I don't know what happened to them. I don't even know if he really gave them to the pound. I don't know if he just let them outside. I don't know if he flushed them down the fucking toilet. I don't know what he did with them. I don't know if they went to a kill shelter. But I know that if he really did give them to the pound, all I can imagine is like a child being abducted. Like, where is my mom? Where is my home? Why, what if they got put down? All these animals that I had had for years and years, this routine. And they never let me down. They were my home. They were my family. They rushed to the door to see me every day, just like I was rushing home to see them. Like there was this unbreakable relationship I had with them. And he just threw them. He just threw them in the trash. And I just thought, what happened to them? How do I know where they went? They're looking for me. I guarantee you they're looking for me. And I cannot forgive myself for that. Quite honestly, I have a hard time with that. I wish that I had known better. I wish that I hadn't have gone. I wish I hadn't signed that contract. I wish, but to be honest, how did you expect him to treat those animals when he threw his own child away? He threw me away by shipping me off to Kansas City so he could go party and do his thing, right? What do you think he's going to do with an animal? He doesn't give a shit. He didn't give a shit about his kid. I wish you were born into a different family. So do I. I like to believe that. They lived and are with Fred now. You will be with them again. Thank you for saying that, Jane. I don't know much about what happens when you die, but I hope that's true. I hope I get to see them again, and I hope that they can forgive me for abandoning them, because I do feel that I abandoned them, and I have never felt right about it. I have never felt right about that story. It's really a tough story, and I just feel like I really let them down. And I love animals more than anything. You guys know that. I really, really love animals. And I loved those animals. And they took care of me. And they were there for me during a time where I was completely alone. Totally alone. To be quite honest, I believe those were angels, because in animal form, which I think they are anyway, but I don't know what my childhood would have been like if I came home every day to an empty house with nothing but money on the table to go get candy up the street and eat my soup alone. I don't know. I obviously would have lived, but I just don't know. I don't know how. Maybe Dawn. I don't know how well I would have survived without them. They took care of me. In a lot of ways, I feel like they helped raise me. They were incredible and they taught me a lot of things. I talked to my animals all the time, and I still do. I talk to my animals all the time. All the time. And I'm very thankful every day. Hey Mason, thanks for calling me Reese today. Better, nice. I'm thankful every day for that. For my current animals, I'm thankful for animals here on planet Earth. I really am grateful for my animals. And I just want to say, like, I'm not trying to shame anybody. I'm not against rehoming animals. I don't have a problem with that. As you guys know, I've talked about rehoming Bo. I've talked about rehoming the cats, not Kid, but the other cats. It's a huge responsibility. It's a lot of cost for me. And I've said, if I think about moving, I may not take all of them with me because I can't find a rental situation that will take 5 animals, right? So I may rehome them. But my God, it's so, yes, Pat Jonas, rehoming and dumping is different. It's very different. I would never, ever let I would never let an animal go anywhere without serious vetting and making sure they're in the house, Mason, making sure that it's the right fit, the right situation, the right people, the right space, everything would have to be checked off. And I would be okay with it. I would be okay with it if it was done properly. Hey, Courtney. Those animals probably taught you how to love. Yeah, that may be very true. Guys, I did not know the topic today at all. And we never know the topic. And that's the beautiful thing about this channel. I love, love, love you guys for prompting me. This all started with Iwa asking me a question. And Courtney, I don't know what you mean, but I also know you're like really not a fan of me. You pop in sometimes, you're welcome to be here. Anybody's welcome to be here. I just don't know what that means. Victoria says, Reese, it was not your fault. And sometimes we do have to compartmentalize that pain, even if it's not politically correct thing to say. You focus on the sadness because it will drag you down. Yes. Thank you, Courtney. I appreciate that, babe. I'm doing great. You're right, Victoria. And, you know, I try not to focus on it. I don't even really think about it, but I miss them. And I'm very grateful that I had them. And I feel that way about my current animals. Guys, I just think of animals as absolute angels here on earth. How anybody, like Gertie was thrown out of a car. She was thrown out of a car window. When I got and adopted her, her feet were broken and she had broken ribs. I cannot understand how anybody would abuse and harm an innocent, precious animal that does nothing but love, right? Yes. I don't, Mason. I don't dislike it. I've just never done it. Oh, I love you, Joel Sachs. You do know me in person, Joel, because I feel like we're total friends. I love Joel Sachs. You were as torn from them as they were from you. You had no part of any collusion. Your choice was only an illusion. That's true. Yes, Kay Thompson, thank you. I'm just a huge animal person, and I always will be. I always will be. I love them, and I try to help them as much as I can. I always donate to animal shelters. That's where I give money if I donate. I just a big believer in that, and that's just my thing. But thank you for listening to me. This was an important stream. And again, this is what I love about this channel. This is such a beautiful thing. This unfolded into this. I went live. I was calling a friend and I was like, she goes, you doing a show today? And I said, yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about. I have no idea what I'm going to say today. I don't like days like that. Like yesterday, I loved our stream yesterday. I loved today. But hey, Original Anne, I love you. Thank you, Anne. I loved yesterday, but I loved today. And some days I'm like, I got nothing. I am literally going in without a net. I am going to hit go and see what happens. Now, I say we don't usually have a topic, but usually I have something to work with. Usually at some point I'll go, ooh, I want to talk about that. And it might be something tiny, but it's, kicks off into something that lasts an hour and then it just organically does something. But the days where I'm literally like blank, I'm like, ooh, I don't know. I titled this Blank Slate. Hey, Zoe. I titled this Blank Slate because what we were talking about last week, Geoplanet Jane, I've never thought of that. If I won the lottery, yes, I would start an animal shelter for sure. I thought blank slate because I am a blank slate. Everything I know from Scientology needs to be wiped out. None of it's accurate. Don't use any of it. And everything I'm learning, you too, Jojo, everything I'm learning from here forward about God, about friendship, about everything, all the new things I'm learning as a human being, I feel like a blank slate. And I love that. Everybody has that opportunity to become a blank slate and just go, I don't know, but I'm willing to learn. And I would love to learn. Joanne Holly, no. As a matter of fact, I missed a couple super chats because I was just crying through it. I'm so sorry. Liz Tricks, I will, Joanne. I'm sorry. It's not your fault. It's Scientology's and your dad's fault. They lied to you. Well, she's right. She's right. And I still take responsibility for it, though. I just feel like I should have known better. And I should have never, ever left them. But thank you for saying that, Liz. It's just hard for me to swallow. Lori Lee, the way you were raised was you're normal and you didn't know any different, to be sad. Thank you, Lori Lee. And thanks for being a member. You're right. It's true, guys. I was a kid. I didn't know. Joanne Hawley, there you are, babe. One of my coworkers passed away 2 weeks ago and his dog Angel died. Oh, 4 days later with a broken heart. Oh, that's so sad. But I have to be honest. In a situation like this, well, thank you for explaining that, Courtney, and I appreciate you being here. Thanks, Geoplanet Jane. Joanne Hawley, I gotta be honest though, in a situation like this, I think about it, it's not the worst thing. I just think one of my biggest fears, I'm like, what if I die and Gertie is still alive? Like, she would absolutely. Whoa! Speaking of, well, hello, tiny Gidget. Look, it's Delia. Oh, gorgeous. Cataracts and all, Punky. Cataracts and all. Okay, so let's ask you while you're here and awake. Oh, I love that, Jessamine. Mixing metals is amazing. If I died, would you want to die like a couple days later of a broken heart so we could be together? I'm not against it. Here's the thing. What if I died and someone just gave her to the pound? What if I died and she just was like, where's my mom? And she just lived with a broken heart. I don't know. I question that, Joanne Hawley. First of all, it's horrible that your co-worker passed away. I'm not making light of this. But it's so sad that the dog died, but it is a true test that your coworker and your dog had to have been bonded, just like me and Pepper. But it was meant to be, says Joanne Hawley. Yeah, Alana, I agree. But the thing is, like, pets are so important, and it would just break me when I would find out that an old person would pass away and, they'd have their 2 cats or they'd have a dog. Huxley would take care of them. Yeah, but she would still be brokenhearted. She is bonded to me. Like this child is such a so silly about her mom. We're like that with each other. They say you look like your pets. Yeah, she's a frosted mini wheat with eyes.
And I just can't imagine life without you. I might die of a broken heart when you die, Gidget. But I know that you'll be up there with the Lord. And I know that the second you die, I shouldn't be too sad. Because what's going to happen is she's going to climb up and jump into the Lord's lap. And the Lord's going to say, there you are. Hey, Gidget. Welcome back. Because she was born next to Christ originally. And so the Lord said, let there be frosted mini wheats with eyes. And then she was born next to Christ. And then the Lord said, oh, yeah, I forgot. Let there be light. But she came first. And then when she dies here, she's going to go back up and all the angels are going to say, there you are again, Gidget. And then the Lord's going to sit her in her lap and she's going to give him a kiss. And then Fred's going to pick her up and he's going to say, there she is. We'll wait for your mom. And that's how it will happen. So we're not going to be sad because we think about it all the time and how depressed we get thinking about you dying. It's incredibly dark and awful, but I do it all the time. Oh my God, original Anne. But it's really a lot. It's really a lot. And yeah, it's holy hay. That's right, Heather. I forgot that Jesus called her when she was little. They would romp around in the fields together and they would frolic. And the Lord called her a frosted mini wheat with eyes. But Jesus said she looks like a hay bale with eyes. And then they ran around and called you holy hay. They said, oh, there's holy hay again, frolicking in the fields. And just sitting there talking to people and really loving life. Isn't that what happened, Pepper? Is that how it happened? Pepper, blink twice if that's how it happened. Give us a kiss. Pepper, kiss us. Dainty. Whenever you talk in the Gert voice, I know it's a lot. It's a lot. It needs to be a child's book. I couldn't agree more. We look at it, and every time we look at it, we go, is it even real? This looks like something out of a pet net from 1992. It looks like something that was sitting in a pet net. Is it really even real? It's really dainty and shit. It's really dainty. Did you know that you're super dainty and shit? Did you know that you've never made a mistake in your life? And the Lord said that? Did you know that you were never going to grow, that you were going to stay tiny? Unbelievable. Kim is blue. It's a lot. It's a lot. Guys, this was an important stream. And this is what I used to do as a child. This is what I used to do. I'd have like, you know how people say a baby on the hip? I'd have one of these in one arm. I'd have a snake wrapped around me. I had a ferret that I was feeding my sandwich to. I had a cat in my lap. And we'd just sit there and we would watch George Carlin. And we would just sit there and we didn't want for anything because we had each other. That's how it was. You weren't there because you were backboard next to Christ. But you're stunning. And you're gorgeous. And you're ever... Oh. Hope between the dreams. It's a lot of extra, girl. It's a lot of extra. It's a lot of sass for a little person. That's a lot of sass and judgment for a tiny little body such as yours. And she says, I don't care because I was born next to Christ. I can judge every one of you if I want to. I'm from above. I know the Lord and I can judge. So mote it be. Wow. Interesting, Courtney. Yeah, this was a good time, guys. This was... Kiss the footy paw. Kiss the effing footy paw, damn it. Kiss the footy paw all the time. Can you kiss your mom with a dainty little kiss? Oh, really? Is this not like the most precious thing of all time? Like, why would you not? How do you not? It's unbelievable. That's a lot of extra sass, Pepper, and everybody loves you. Anybody and everyone would jump in front of a bus. Oh, yes, we would. Yeah. Oh. And we would too. And we love you. Everybody loves you, Pepper. You're the most important person on planet Earth. Everybody looks up to you and wants to kiss you and your footy paws. Oh my God. It's a lot. It's unbelievable. I don't know what else to say about it. It's every time I look at you, I feel like I've never seen you before and I fall back in love. Did you know that? Did you know that? Oh, did you know that every time
Excuse me.
Did you know every time your mom looks at you, she falls in love with you every time? And then at nighttime, we turn on the heating pad and we cuddle up and we talk to the Lord and we say, "Thank you, Lord, for your precious one here, and thank you for everything else." Don't we? Oh, you're awfully little. And then you give your mom a dainty kiss. A dainty kiss?
Quit it. Reese, can you? Sorry, I'm not paying attention to the chat. Can you scroll up to my last comment? Kay Thompson. Was it a long time ago? There you are. I volunteer 4 times a month at our SPCA. I walk, snuggle, talk to, bathe, and love the animals. So mentally therapeutic. Have you ever thought of doing something like that? They'd be lucky to have you. So, great question. I can only donate money at this point in Kansas City. The only way I got my last several cats was I went in to I donated cat litter and I brought in some dog beds. I would go to TJ Maxx and I would buy dog beds and I would get cat litter and like a bag of cat food, and I would take it in. And that's how I ended up adopting more animals. So, Kay, I can't do it anymore because it's like when you walk into a store and you're like, oh, I don't need anything. I'm just looking. Is that on sale? Oh my God. And you grab it. It's the same thing. I'm like, oh, I'm just donating this. Is he up for adoption? He's mine now. So I can't. So I just send money, Kay, but bless you for doing it, girl. And I would. But the problem is if we saw anything that looked like this, right? So that's, yeah. Yeah, but I love that you do it. And I have so much respect and love that you do that. I would take them all home. You better believe it. So guys, this was a long stream. This was a really long stream, but I have to say I enjoyed your company and the chat so much. Reese, your animals taught you how to love. Usually a parent does that. You had no power in that situation. That's a great point, DNV. And you know what? I had the best parents. My parents were my animals. Love you, Catherine J. Liz Tricks, she's telling the truth. I knew that. It is Kay Thompson, but I mean it. Thank you for doing it. But no, I was raised by my animals and maybe that's something I should be more than grateful for. Maybe that's where my personality developed, right? But I really loved them. And I appreciate the safe space that you guys let me share that tonight. That was a very private, very sensitive topic for me. And I purposely haven't talked about that subject hardly at all. I think that I've kind of scooted over it. I've skated over it, but I've never gotten into the meat and potatoes of that story for obvious reasons. It's really, really hard for me to talk about that. And I'm glad that I did. I'm glad we got me out of my shell. I'm glad that I hopefully will let some of that blame go, some of that guilt. I hope I let some of it go. And I appreciate you guys helping me to talk about it. It's important to talk about it, even though it's really, really hard and traumatic. It did, Shelly. I do feel better. And I love you, Geoplanet Jane. Guys, thank you for saying that. How do you not? Look at that. Look at it. Do you know that we're talking? Did you know that we love you so much? Did you know, Delilah? Oh, that we love you so much. And you're just everything heavenly, that anything the heavens have to offer is all put into you. I love you guys. And thank you for listening to me. Please. Thank you, Stacy Toms. I love you, girl. And I'm glad you were here. Please hit subscribe. YouTube is unsubscribing people, or just a bunch of people hate me. I don't know. If you don't hate me and you're not subscribed, just hit subscribe. If you do hate me, just hit unsubscribe, whatever you need to do. Thank you, Angie Mo. And I love you guys. Thank you for listening to me. That meant the world. It really did. This was This was a very powerful stream. I love you, Jojo. And Rain, Joe, love you. And guys, I mean it. Thank you for your time. Of course, and always. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the memberships. Thank you for being members. Helena, Bowie is fighting you for control. Bit me for modding for you. Oh my God. Bowie is sassy. Bowie is Helena's adorable little bunny rabbit, and he's so cute. He is so cute. And they are very bonded. Clearly, he bit her because she's modding. Please take your hands off the keyboard and mouse, Helena. Back away slowly and just give your time to Bowie. He wins. Thank you for the super chat. I love you guys. I'll be back tomorrow afternoon, probably around 4 or 5 again. And I love you, Joe Virus, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you again. I mean it, for supporting me, spending time with me, watching this, super chats, whatever it is. I appreciate it very, very much. All right, here comes Fred. I will see you guys tomorrow.